came off a most recent 5th place finish. I believe it was Living for Success LFS that grabbed that last place slot on that recent performance. So hopefully we can send that trend right back up. But these are the stakes and what our teams are playing for. If you find yourself in the bottom 2, like you said, Ben, you're done. You're going home. You don't even get to hit the survival stages and be able to play through that and hopefully earn yourself a chance to play in the Delta Force Rise Series finals. Get that cash flow that we've seen throughout our breakdowns. But guys, if you're new here or if you just need a refresher on what's been going on for the Delta Force Rise Series, let me go throw you to this quick video that explains everything.
Delta Force, 1 game, 2 regions,
Delta Force.
This is the complete guide to Delta Force Rise Series EMEA and Americas Season 1. Everything you need to know, from the very first match to the last squad standing. The path is the same in both regions. It starts with the open qualifiers, open to any team that wants to compete. The best push through to the group stage, where the top 2 advance directly to the finals, bottom 2 eliminated, and the rest battle through the survivor stage to earn their spot. From the open qualifiers, 12 teams have fought their way into the season, and only 1 will lift the trophy. The group stage runs for 4 weeks, with matches every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The 12 teams are split into 4 groups, A, B, C, and D. 3 teams per group. Each broadcast day, 2 groups go head-to-head in a cross-group match. Every match is a 7-round format. 6 teams competing in the same lobby simultaneously, across up to 7 rounds on maps like Zero Dam, Brackesh, Tide Prison, and
Brackesh, Tide Prison, Space City.
And accumulating in-game total assets. And on brick rounds, they compete to
Frenético.
collect and decode Mandel bricks, artifacts that decide the round winner. Decode 2 Mandel bricks in a match, and the victory is locked in, no matter what round you're on. After
Frenético.
12 match days, the group stage standings are final. Places 1 to 2 go straight to the finals. Places 3 to 8 enter Survivor Stage Day 1. Places 9 to 10 drop into Survivor Stage Day 2. Places 11 to 12 are eliminated. The Survivor Stage is where the bracket narrows fast. Day 1 brings those 6 teams together for one 7-round match. The top 2 advance directly to the finals. Places 3 to 6 get 1 more shot. Day 2 mixes the 4 survivors from Day 1 with the 2 teams ranked 9th and 10th from the group stage. Again, 6 teams, 1 7-round match. Top 2 are in the finals. Everyone else is out. 6 teams, 1 day, 1 lobby, 1 match. This is the finals, the ultimate showdown of the season. 2 teams earned it through the group stage. 2 more survived Day 1. The last 2 came through Day 2. Every team deserves to be there. The top 3 finishers earn an invitation to Season 2. Welcome to Delta Force Rise Series EMEA and Americas Season 1. Loot, shoot, extract.
And there you have it, folks. But of course, our tournament rules here. Every player will be kicking things off with that 1.5 million Technic alloy. Obviously, if you die, you lose your gear. It's very the same thing that y'all are used to in the pubs. Things are just getting a little crazy because we do have that double brick format. The goal is to get those 2 Mandel bricks, and you'll be ranked according to how many you capture. The moment you hit 2, we close the tournament. So if you grab 2 Mandel bricks by game number 5, we are done in 5. Who knows though? I do like when we get a game 7. As you can see, rounds 1 and 3 are going to be airdrop only rounds. So Zero Dam and Tide Prison will be those matches in which we try to treat them as like an eco round, right? Get your loot up so you can really focus on those Mandel brick rounds that are going to occur in round 2, 4 through 6, and then 7 as well. We'll get into some little intricacies about those, but of course that brackish map in round 2 will also have an airdrop. Operators can only be used 2 times. Unless something crazy happens, we get that coveted game 7, and then we crank open the unlock on that one. Ben, we had a game 7 just last week in Americas on Sunday. I was like midnight. We were getting hyped, and that was my favorite part of it.
Yeah, we've had some go the distance and some end surprisingly early. Also worth mentioning, this is going to be on Season Echo, so that's 1 behind where you are on public servers, but that means we're going to see Morse involved, one of the newer operators, but we're not going to see N2 running around freezing anyone just yet.
Perfect. Love that shout out. As you can see, we'll kind of dive more into those rules. We mentioned the 1.5 million Technic alloy per player.
Todos eles
Players will
vão
also
começar
have
com
that
1,5 milhão.
3x3 safe box in which you'll
Cofre
likely see a ton of
3x3
ammo, or if they
e
find some
12
fun
slots
reds,
de
they'll throw
cartão.
it in there. They'll get a 12 slot card holder. In terms of
Recursos por
resources, they have
eliminação,
that fixed
800
supply
mil.
ultimate safe box, as mentioned, 800k per elim. That is such a massive value because every time you get that team wipe, you're grabbing 2.4 million in Technic alloy, plus your kill points. So valuable to be aggressive. Make sure you guys are also decoding those Mandel bricks. We'll talk more about the format and kind of how that works, whether you're stealing the decodes, but also you guys will have a consecutive extraction failures. Now, let's break it down even further because there's so many rules that we just love highlighting for those of you at home. Here's the Mandel brick rules, right? Those will become available shortly after the match starts. Like I said, it's going to occur on Brackish, Space City. Those are the only ones you'll see it on. Once that Mandel brick is picked up by a squad, they'll have 5 minutes to get it to a decoding station or it's going to reset. Then we'll have that Mandel brick initial decoding time. It kicks off at 4. Every time it's intercepted, which takes 2.5 seconds, by the way, that timer for that next team that steals it is going to decrease by 30 seconds. The minimum time it can get to is 1 minute 30 seconds. And if a squad is absolutely annihilated while they're trying to decode, good luck, have fun, the countdown pauses.
Yeah, absolutely. It's worth noting that, if any team has that brick picked up for 5 minutes, even if it gets dropped, moved around, that will completely reset as well. So that's going to be something we have seen happen, over the course of this tournament. That minimum decoding time also comes into play a lot when we see the match timer coming down. You see the clock creeping down, and we often will run out of time for anyone to get brick completely. So it's not guaranteed that a team is getting brick. You don't get overtime. There's no special added on time for that. And again, the squad decoding getting paused. We've seen that happen quite a lot where a team's been eliminated.
Yes, it is actually so crazy. They're incredibly close. Next thing you know, they get completely wiped. But how those points are going to work here for our regular season. In terms of your match placement, guys, if you get first place on the day, you're grabbing 8 points. The cool part about this is, let's say you win with getting those 2 Mandel bricks decoded. You're going to grab a point for each Mandel brick. So you potentially can walk away with 10 total points on the day. If you find yourself in the bottom 2, those double-digit points are going to be so critical to lock you into the Survivor matches that are going to be occurring next weekend. However, maybe you don't get a Mandel brick and we don't have that double brick closed out. It's going to be determined by your squad points. And here's basically how that's calculated. Squad points equal kill points plus supply points. So each confirmed kill is going to get you 1 point. We talk about how important that is because you also get assets for your kills. Like I said, a full team wipe, 2.4 mil. And every 2 mil in total stash assets earns 1 point. 1.9 million doesn't get you the point. 2.1 million gets you 1 point. But you have to reach that next threshold of 4 million to get there. And of course, what are we playing for, guys? Cash. But you've got to hit the finals to be able to play for this massive prize pool. First place takes home $60K, which will be next weekend. You're going to have so much fun. We do have the MVP bonus of 3K and that dynamic kill bonus, Ben, of $50 per kill.
And some of these players have been really working on that dynamic kill bonus. We've seen some huge kill counts coming in from some of our players, and maybe some teams getting a little too hung up on kills and not focusing enough on Mandel bricks. But next weekend in the finals is going to be the time that they need to bring it all together and try and win this huge amount of money. You can see that even all the way down to 11th and 12th place, they're still getting money in the finals from this.
I actually love that. For our participating teams, you'll have groups A through D on the screen. Today, you are going to be witnessing Group A and Group C. So Dark Entities, Team Gataga, LFS, Genius, Agartha. These are pretty much duking it out. We said they have 2 days left of play this weekend. You will not see either Group B or D until Saturday and Sunday. Of course, we are on that July 31st. I cannot believe it's the last day of July, Ben.
Yeah, it's absolutely flown by this tournament so far. We're on week 4 already. As you can see, A and C. And we're going to have a little look at the teams coming in today. And joining us, this is D. Dark Entities. Been doing very well so far as Bishka, Follerate, and Fleric have been our main runners. You can see Fleric up on the page now. Huge damage and kills coming in from DE. They've had a full win so far in the tournament. They've had a couple of low results as well, but they're in a good position now if they can get a good result today to get themselves back into that top 2 on the leaderboard. And that's, of course, the top 2. They'll automatically go to the final day of finals. So that is the priority for these teams on the leaderboard. We've also got some of our other teams coming in today. Team Gotaga, another team we've seen have some on and off days. Max and Nox and Vladid, they certainly know how to get a ton of kills. We've seen so many coming in from these. As we showed earlier in the broadcast, Max and Nox both in the top 5 for kills, despite being game match behind the other teams above them in the leaderboards. So huge killing potential from Team Gotaga. They're another one to watch today. And then LFS, they're one of our ones a little bit low down in the leaderboard today. We've got Even Imperator and Stickinson, and they need a good result today, Tiff.
They truly do. I hate sending teams home. I hate crushing hearts when it comes to like the end of our group stages. But as you see, throwing tons of that value in there in terms of what they prefer to play and making sure that, hey, I'm a valuable support player. Lock it in. Those guys are so vital. But there you go. You have it. Our Group A done and dusted that are going to be showing out here today. In terms of Group C, though, Ben. Oh. Let me at it. Where are we going? Who are we kicking things off with? Okay, Genius. You were highlighting them, saying they had a couple of match day wins. They were looking really strong, but may have tapered off throughout the weeks.
Yeah, Genius have been sort of back and forth a little bit. They're one of the few teams, or one of the only 2 teams, I think, so far to have actually won 2 match days. But then their other 2 results have been nowhere near as good as that. So we got Kilo, we got Chins, and we've got Hannah that have been playing. They've all been fragging really well. They've had great days. Again, they need to have another good day. They're not at risk of going into that bottom 2, the bottom 4 in the table. That's not a concern for them, but the top 2 is definitely a possibility if they can play like they have on some of the other days. This is having a look at Nast here. This is Team Agartha. Again, they've been sitting kind of in the mid-table, being fairly consistent. No danger at the lower end of the table for these guys, for Nast, Tuba, and Yaku. But, if they can have a really good result, and keep in mind, like we said earlier, all of the teams playing today have 2 matches still to play. This isn't their last chance. They've got another go after this. So if you get 2 good results for the mid-table teams, suddenly you're flying up to the top of the table. And this is MBO. They are one of the teams at risk. They're sitting down in 11th place right now. A couple of points from safety, so they need to get some good points today. But they do have that game in hand on Floor POV, who is sitting in 10th place, just outside of that relegation zone. So that's going to be their target today. Max points for MBO has got to be the goal.
Well, then hopefully we can lock it in. The only thing about that is you do have Agartha that is right above them by like 2 slots. In terms of our map rotation, we kind of alluded to this earlier. It's going to be a lot of what you've seen throughout our group series. We'll be kicking things off on that round 1 0 dam with an airdrop. And we'll kind of talk you through when those airdrops are going to be dropping, what you're going to find in those, and who's going to be fighting out for them. In terms of your operator pick, bro, it's not even game 1 yet. The world's your oyster. In terms of bringing things in, we likely do see some D-Wolves. I've seen a couple of Nox picks, maybe 1 or 2 come out in Zero Dam for people that are liking to be aggressive in the America side of things. But Ben, talk me through EMEA. We've been seeing some differences.
Yeah, Raptor is the one you tend to always see pretty much on Zero Dam. Like you say, D-Wolf, we're going to see sometimes Nox. We see a lot of Nox run on Prison, but the teams that don't want to run a double Nox on Prison, they're not going to use Nox probably on any other map. So yeah, may we'll see a Nox. As you can see, there is another popular operator choice. And we talked about previously on some of these broadcasts that it's not always so much what is your priority operator to use on these maps, especially the eco rounds. It's often who do I not want to use up that I want to save for later, especially for those Mandelbrick rounds. You've got those key operators like Tempest obviously is so strong for Mandelbricks, and then you've got the ones who are very good for map specific things like Luna and you might want to use one of the other. The Gizmo is a really interesting one for me, right? Gizmo's fairly new, and we've seen that coming quite late in this tournament. Suddenly people popping the nest, popping the spiders, and that's been quite an interesting one for me.
It truly has. I've seen a couple of gizmos throughout, but as we look towards our players getting locked in for game 1 on Zero Dam, for those that are in a similar do or die situation, you're in the bottom 2. This is the start to the claw back to lock yourselves into the survivor matches that are going to be occurring next weekend. But the final week of the group stages is here. And guys, if you've been enjoying our yapping while we explain some things, I have a surprise for you. Before we jump into game number 1, we have a quick break giveaway, okay? A redeemable code is going to appear on your screen for the Nico Mimi spray paint. Be quick. It has a limited number of activations. And when I say be quick, like, they go so fast. So once they're gone, they're gone. Good luck. Have fun. It's limited to 35 redemptions.
as we jump into game 1 here, keep an eye on what our operators are going to be choosing, what our players are going to be bringing in. The players are restricted on their kits, so you're not going to see gold ammo and gold vests coming out just yet, but you are going to see some action on Zero Dam as we jump into game 1 today. Joining Agartha here as we see them over on the southeast. We've got Gotaga just over in Vizzy, DE Ingenious getting the admin prio spawns, MBO #1 up near the barracks, and LFS Living for Success. They are just now down in the cement factory.
Good highlight on the tier 1 spawns over there for DE and the other team. You get a tier 1 spawn, but you're not getting it on that initial Mandel brick round once we move to Brackish. So you'll hopefully find yourself in a tier 3 spawn, which I think is just as good with prio to that Royal Museum. But Agartha on your screen thus far. I love how aggro they get full sending over to Visitor Center.
They push right up here. This is where you can see Gotaga in there already, with Saeed being dropped in.
Esse time é forte, tá,
Genius, the other team over on the spawns. And there you see the kit our teams have brought in. Pretty unanimous, the purple and blue, as you'd probably expect. You can see some of the operator choices. We got Universal Raptors actually. Raptor for Agartha.
Tá liderando já, mano,
for
o top.
Gotaga and Agartha, both Raptorless. We got Vyron.
Eita porra, ele vai abrir a porta.
See too many Vyrons brought out.
Ele vai abrir a porta.
A couple of gizmos.
Ai.
There we go.
Foi
All right.
Finalizou.
Initial contact has been made, but not only did they get the knock, they get the full on to Maxa. It's going to make things for Gotaga very difficult to go ahead and back up and get the reset, even with the compound bow in hand. 2 down for Agartha.
Yeah, just down to 1 remaining. Yaku, the only one left for AGT for Agartha. That is not the start they're going to be looking for. I don't often see a fight in Vizzy. I mean, ever in these, let alone right at the start like this. But they decide to push straight in on Gotaga. Unfortunately, they've chosen to take the fight to one of the teams that's been picking up the most kills in our tournament so far. And it looks like they're pretty much going to get that red safety as well. And Yaku's going to have to decide if he wants to try something heroic or just back out of this here.
Can we talk about how we have 2 Lunas on this? Gotaga's got 1, and Agartha is investing a Luna on Zero Dam in the final week, and Yaku enters and gets denied. Not in Gotaga's house.
Yeah, clearly maybe Luna not an operator they were going to prioritize for later in the tournament. Of course, because we have Morse now, there is another option for recon operators. So as we get more operators added to these, then it gives our teams a bit more to play with in that operator pool.
Tá os 3 juntos ali.
Do love to see that, and some kills go the way. You can see their profits also increasing for Gotaga. But we check in with Genius, who favored that tier 1 spawn alongside Dark Entities, kind of caught up here. I do respect that we're kind of scouting, looking out the windows, making sure, like, hey, if we get some information on what's going on up here, as teams still kind of scout around. LFS, more mid-map and Zero Dawn.
LFS, tá no subterrâneo.
Zero Dawn. Bro, I almost called you Brad this morning. Like, maybe I should get some caffeine.
Eles estão com munição azul, mano. É a primeira partida, eles começam com pouco dinheiro, né?
From the cement plant through underneath the center of the map, all the way over to substation. We've seen it used a lot.
Em amarelo,
another route you can take up into admin, of course, via the key card
os bots,
door,
né?
And our teams
mas
can
também
basically
tem
use any key card they want. They have a kind of 100
a parte da DM, os dois times.
Skeleton key, so expect to see them open.
O time DE tá muito posicionado, porém o GOT, né, GOT, eles estão com muita grana, mano. Eles estão farmando muita grana.
As we kind of often see in these admin fights, they take a little bit of time to mature and develop. They haven't really fully engaged yet.
Vamos ver onde que esse time tá.
To be fair, most of the fighting on Zero Dam doesn't even occur until like the last 4 to 5 minutes. So the fact that we already had a team push up and look for a fight in Visitor Center and Gotaga taking that, an early exit for someone here in map #1 and the regain is going to have to occur when it comes to Brackish game 2. For our other teams, it's all about getting your numbers up. Like, we're already at 3 million for shifting around as we prepare for the airdrop that will be dropping in less than a minute.
Yeah, it's good work by Gotaga, good points on the board, potentially some money as well from the 800k per kill, which is a huge amount and huge value.
Time já foi eliminado, mano.
These eco rounds, you want to try and get what you can from them, but I have often seen teams who haven't had a great performance necessarily on the first game, then come through later on when we've got Mandel bricks and walk away with the win. So, it's not a good start for Agartha, but they don't need to completely panic just yet, I don't think.
To be fair, the last time we saw groups A and C, Agartha did get a brick in game 4 with 14 kills on Space City. So that's kind of the level of play that I'm looking forward to them as we get deeper into this series. As we start dropping that airdrop about 3 seconds, you can see that LFS on the screen is already poised to intercept it.
LFS já vai pegar o airdrop. Já tá no airdrop,
now,
ver o que ele tá pegando.
And I'm kind of working my way through major
pegou munição vermelha. É aquela sniper, né, mano?
But we can see the ammo coming on through. Show me the weapon.
No way,
I'm ready for some one-shot snipes.
Yeah, there's that AWM, and you know now our players got to decide. You need to make sure you.
Olha como eles deram salto já no ranking
de
loots, né?
Getting points on the board.
Don't
miss.
Valores,
want to get it off
2.4 milhões.
You don't want to get caught in between. We've seen teams just not get the kills, not take it off the map, and it's such a waste. So let's see what they decide to do with that.
Bro, Enter is really just treating us to like the most crazy POVs here from the sky.
É bastante Raptor, né, mano? Muito Raptor.
Going up. I'm like, all right, am I in Jurassic Park or am I in Zero Dam?
They're trying to put the observers out of work here, getting some great shots. So gonna make that a little bit easier for them. Just dropping the EMP from the Raptor bird onto that was Fleric there. This is Chins. Jen, keep an eye out for teams approaching, and eventually they will all approach admin. That's what we usually see is, as Tiff mentioned, some big fights kicking off in that area late game. That's Nox there, just looting over in
Estão na
major
subestação, o time que tá...
They're on 3.8 mil now for the target, pretty decent.
Top ranking.
Yeah, we take that all day. I'm kind of looking throughout our perusals as well of what our teams brought in. A ton of Raptors. We see a Shepherd come through, a Viren here for Genius, which I think is super fun. That means Chin's about to get aggro when it comes to these fights and putting himself in a good position, especially when you still have NBO that's kind of been lurking up towards the north. I'm probably going to listen for some things that might break out up here with Genius and DE.
I think worth mentioning again, as we talked about in the rules earlier, you do get 1 point on your squad points for every kill, and you get 1 point for every 2 million in value
Cara, que treta.
At the end of the day as well. So even though 4 mil on the board, or well 3.9 for Gataga, if they get that to 4 mil, that'd be 2 points. They've got 3 points from that kill already. So those 3 kills are worth the equivalent of them extracting with
Eles estão bem, mano.
So it just shows you
Só que eles estão com pouca grana, mano.
Kills in this format.
Eles não estão conseguindo lutear. NBO.
Board here with NBO, enter.
NBO. Será que eles vão entrar na DM?
About like what they want to do now that we're about that 10-minute mark. Another airdrop is about to hit.
Vai por cima com o Raptor.
Shortly, who's going to be able to play for that depending on
chance de ir por cima com o Raptor, não conseguiu.
High-valued assets, mostly gold. You never know. You could see some reds. Information going out from Genius here. Straight on a DE.
Yep, this is Suspicion here, just a little bit of recon again in admin.
Aparentemente estão givando.
Wall breaker hit yet. This is NBO.
Esse time de fora, NBO, não tá legal, não tá numa boa posição.
If you do manage to do wall breaker, you can pick up these lucky wooden
sculptures. O
God
já tá na subestaçãozinha lá.
Some wooden sculptures in there.
Vai pegar outro loot.
Os caras vão for some high-end gear later in the tournament, like
o cara extrair, vai extrair
like
aparentemente só, né?
Se
ele extrair,
but looking at the map there, it looks like it's going to be a pretty hard route for them to try and get there now. There's a lot of teams already in the admin area. It might be a bit late for them.
Aí depois vai,
kind of interesting,
final vai vir a matança,
né? They're like, do
10
we want to do
minutos.
this? Not 100% sold on it
9
just
minutos
yet. You
e
do have
33
Gataga down
segundos, pra ser
south.
bem
You can
exato.
check in with them. They've got that
God está
extraction
vindo.
point. Not
Pode
sure
dar
if
de
they're
frente
gonna
com
dip. I mean,
o
regardless,
LFS
they
que
have
tá
some
no
kills. They
cimento.
did wipe Agartha, so they'll have 3 KP associated with that, plus 2.4 million, and they already have 4 mil profits. So they're looking pretty solid for a nice little eco round of a zero dam for them.
Já estão sabendo deles lá.
Looks like they are gonna lock in the paid
já garantiram
we often see teams do this. What they're doing here is they'll go up and activate it. It has 3 slots available, so they'll go over, activate that, and then walk out of the little radius around it, so they can actually walk back to that anytime later in the round, and that 30-second count will start again. What that also means is that no other team can go and use that now. That's basically targets only, or if they even choose to use it. So that's why you see them going for that, yeah.
Go down fighting. It's like, no, those kills are so much more valued than this, and we go back to our north, and I'm like, will this break out? You've got Kilo kind of just playing behind this, making sure that we are staying completely healthy in terms of our armor, in terms of our health. But it's not breaking out just yet. There's still plenty of times left in this round, and you don't want to give up any bit of knocks early on.
the Spideys coming in from Gizmo. We were talking about them earlier on. Killer here just holding that angle. And, our teams just kind of being patient with it. You see the power of the third party is so strong usually, and I think Gataga have gone. They took that.
They left.
They wanted to go and maybe make themselves a cup of tea and get a sandwich, and they've gone with 8 minutes left on the clock. It's quite surprising, but they got 3 kills. They got 4 mil, so why not? See you later. Get some rest and get ready for Brakesh.
Hey, they've got their eye on the prize when it comes to Mandel bricks. They know exactly
agora
what
vai ser boa, agora vai ser
they
boa.
got the
7
KP,
minutos.
and now everyone else can look for some of their own. You do have Uzbishka here on the D-Wolf, so make sure once he pops ult, once it gets crazy in there. Full array, though, on the intro. And look at Genius here. Disengaging. Gets hit with a couple of things, and says, out the window we go.
Puxar extração.
Pulled that lever, and that gives us a 4-minute countdown here as they try and push. They got smoke down. It shows you the value of smoke. When you see these teams playing today, you're going to find them always making sure they've got some operator on board that has some smokes they can utilize.
Lançou o pássaro.
Lever to go, but they haven't really achieved anything yet. So they're going to get some kills on the way, unless they're just keeping it ticking over here.
Good scout here. Making sure, hey, is someone camping inside this area? Because typically we will see people on that extract making sure that we are waiting for someone that's going to full send it. For now, it is free. Genius, after pulling lever, will move towards that and kind of set up here for DE. Scouting as well. This is where you want to keep tabs on, like you said, for those third parties that do come through. And NBO's just been kind of lurking on the outside.
LFS também.
Yeah, strange position for MBO, really. I think they're sort of thinking about, I think it was MBO.
Eles estão chegando aqui na DM, mano.
No, that was LFS, wasn't it? Yeah, that was
LFS. Dentro de kill, hein?
Yeah, MBO were just kind of, they're just sitting waiting to third party. I'm surprised no one came in from
NBO tá chegando
in the
também.
End. They decided not to use that.
Estão lá fora ainda.
Sort of lurking outside the car.
Vamos ver o mapa completo aqui.
Yeah, it's quite slightly unusual, I'd say, the layout here. You'd normally expect at this stage to see every team kind of in this admin area starting to get involved and trying to get towards that extract, but with Gataga extracted and Agartha gone, and it's a little bit quieter than we might think.
Já pegaram.
That's exactly what it is, because I do believe that this game 1 is playing out a little uncharacteristic, but it's also week 4. So you throw the smokes down, you go for the high-valued assets. Let's see what we pull. Gold. Come on, give me a red. Give me a red. I'll take a gold mantle all day, but I mean, here's the deal. No? No reds?
Pô, Delquinha, fortalece aí com red, né?
I don't think I've ever seen that, hardly ever, but yeah, a bunch of golds there from the airdrop. That's not really going to do them any good as we join Imperator here. This is LFS. They've moved right in here, so maybe they're considering
deu uma levantada, deu up
no into play. They do still have the
total de grana deles aí. Boa.
Bagless extract can be
na
optional.
Cara do parceiro.
Extract, depending on which time their side they spawned. And there is the Orm. That's with Stickinson.
Essas granadas aí
taken a couple of hits there as they engage with DE, still sitting in admin.
Ooh.
Essa daí.
We push him back out to check that. We saw the triple blaster come through over the top straight towards where Stickinson is. If we peek for entirely too long, you're going to lose your face straight from LFS, which they need this, right? They are a team that is inside the bottom 2. So racking up a couple kills here and setting them up for success on this series.
Well,
what do they need?
Yeah, it can come in really valuable. It might seem like there's not a huge amount you can play for when you're in a no Mandelbrick game, but when you look at, the fine margins things are decided by, if, say, LFS managed to get one Mandelbrick today and they're in a draw situation come the end of the day, having an extra 2-3 points on the board, swap points on the board from some kills they got on Zero Dam or on Tide Prison could make the difference between, it could be 2 places, and that could be enough points to get them, playing in finals weekend or not.
Só 300 mil
de cada. It truly does come down to the most minutia amount of points in terms of just making sure you stay in. For Stickinson, bro, he just wants to light up.
Deixa o likezão aí pra fortalecer, mano.
He's holding all of the angles for LFS. Also, you have Imperator kind of out here scouting.
Mandelbrick.
Like, somebody chow me over here.
Aquela loucura.
We're waiting. Chins, you can see. Goodbye.
Yeah,
goodbye.
They're gone. I think. Well, I mean, six players already extracted from Zero Dam with 3.5 minutes on the clock.
Weird.
Yeah, this feels more like a pub match with everyone extracting.
Três times.
But, yeah, kind of a weird one. I think Gen, as you say, I think Gen wanted someone to push them there so they could get some points, and no one did. So they kind of extracted with nothing.
Vai meter a cara, bota a cara.
They don't lose their value, of course, so they don't gift any points to other teams. There's always a small benefit as we see. Even and Folare here.
Okay, let's go. That's some craziness there. Folare down, and now LFS looking to lay siege to the building, holding the stairway. You can immediately invest those resources. Yubishka there with the triple blaster, trying to close it on out. I don't know if we're going to be able to get Folare back up, especially if Fleric, that health was ticking down. It generates back through. We can't give them isolated 1v1s, as you see Folare holding while we climb back over. Shots to even.
Caraca.
We jump on it. NBO.
Boa demais, rapaziada.
Yeah, that's
time DE
two up for NBO now and one left for DE.
Não conseguiu arrumar espaço, mano.
Left up as this is Dickinson, who has the AWM.
Não tenta.
Try and get that revive on Folare. Maybe a tough position to do it, especially with a D-Wolf left for DE. Yeah, and they've bide their time on that one there.
They've got the motorized skeleton going, and the two come in. He gets the knock on one, and he gets the other through the triple blaster.
Right.
Oh, he's gonna jump on him. He's jumping on him, and we're down around, and Uzbishka gets aggressive and puts him down, but here comes NBO.
Uzbishka doing what he does best. Huge taking down. The guys there, but yeah, there's still one up here. Coming in to push, and this is going to be tough.
USB.
Even, and this is NBO coming in. Yeah, Matthias from NBO leading the charge. They heard that, they third partied, and finally goes down.
LFS só tem vivo, é o Nox. NBO tá com 2 vivos, porém ele pode ressar o outro. Tá ressando. Tá ressando o outro.
With the AWM, and this is like kind of the blessing and the curse, right? Hello, half health. We hit him through the wall, bro. It'd be like that.
Tem chance que tá.
Landing, I guess, a body or an arm shot there with the Orm. That's not what you want to do. And this Orm is staying on the map. There's no time to get to an extract now, so needs to get some value from it soon for Stick. Doesn't look like that's super likely to happen, but NBO pushing in close.
De vida, mano.
LFS eliminated here from zero. Damn, that's going to leave NBO, our last team, on the map. A couple of kills, a well-timed third party is just trying to get involved. You can see they were able to grab 3
era dos últimos
Matthias. And, well, you know, they're not going to be able to get out, but that's okay, because Agartha and at least Genius was able to
era dos últimos aqui na run.
Nice work from Matthias.
30 segundos para extrair.
Number 1. They timed that third party well to come in. Get themselves some points on the board, as you mentioned. They're not going to be
Mas garantiram bastante
with
kill.
Just a few seconds left. The Genius and Gataga, they are long gone. Agartha we saw wiped early on. And by the way, those,
that's right.
Dog tags, they're worth money, right, Tiff? They're worth money for these players.
They truly are. Get them in your safe box. Whatever is going to give you that most value as you go to leave. But for now, at least you've got the 3 kills, 2.4 mil assets just from those.
Acabou a primeira partida, vamos ver o ranking.
That was our
NBO
amassou. Kind of surviving
e eu achei que eles não iam conseguir, tá, mano? Eles ficaram ali fora, lutearam pouco, eles não conseguiram dominar muito. Chegaram lá pelo estacionamento da subestação, chegaram devagar e ainda dominaram o jogo. A fight boa é que eles pegaram o TPzão ali no final, né, mano? Com o LFS.
It's just kind of play what's going to give you a smoke for the airdrops, what's going to be good in those fights, and are not operators that you want to use for those Mandelbrick rounds.
I'm really interested to see who comes up as, you know, the MVP or the winning team from this round here, because it was kind of all over the place. Like, Gataga got an early wipe and then just went home, and you know, Garth obviously went here. Genius kind of extracted with nothing, and it is Gataga, there you go. The guys who got the 3 early kills and then checked out.
Jogaram bem, foi o time que extraiu com 4 milhões.
To be fair, they did what they needed to do. You wipe one team, You get the assets from that.
Nox.
You loot up down south, and you just play the series focused on the Mandel bricks. And if you're going to take all of those assets and invest in what you want to bring into Brackish, 100%. You can see Nox there is going to be the one that picks up 2.
Primeiro lugar, 4 milhões. Segundo lugar, extraiu
com
3
as well. A couple of kills sporadic throughout Dark Entities, Agartha, and LFS. But for Genius, who do focus on just hitting the extract, right? They leave with no kills.
O time que
just
extraiu
value in
ainda
terms of
teve
what
3
they were able to
kills.
pick up prior to leaving.
Boa demais.
Yeah, kind of unfortunate extract really for Genius not picking up any kills. Good points on the
bom
board
que
there
eles
for number
conseguem
1.
também
Three's gonna be very useful for them. They're obviously
já
low down
ganham
the table, so that will be handy.
já
And
ganham
there
dinheiro,
is
né?
number 1 on the killers. Matthias grabbing all 3 for the team as Bishka on 2 from D, and Nox grabbing 2 as well. The AWM as well, totally wasted. Such a shame to see not even a kill picked up. And there you go. I said as Bishka got damage, and top of the damage of round 1.
To be fair, he was under siege. Not only was he getting full sent and he holds it down, finds a couple of kills there, but then NBO just absolutely jumps on them in terms of top assisters. You got Flare right there. Cook to round things out with NBO. Nox being super vital in that fight with Agartha early on for 0 dam. In terms of our asset earners, I'm not surprised it's Gataga all day because they immediately wipe a team and then just focus on the extract.
Yeah, clean sweep there for Gataga, and that is going to be MVP for Nox as well. Got 2 of the kills, an assist, and a nice amount of assets gained. Of course, they got the loot off Agartha, and then got all their stuff off the map after
no final ele não tem que fazer, mano. É kill.
Kind of a strange 0 dam. I don't think there's a clear advantage to
pegar kill,
really coming out of that as we go into game 2 on
guardar os itens de maior valor no cofre.
Before we get there, I've got to hear it. Look, you've been on the EMEA side of things for the past couple of weeks working alongside
vermelho,
I got thrown over to Americas. We were getting crazy over there. Before we jump to a quick break here, talk to me really quick about maybe some differences that are coming through from week 4 that have been changed over the course of what we've seen historically.
Se arrumar de novo no lobby, né?
In that game than we've seen ended 0 dam so far. I don't think that's going to be
the
case for the rest of the games, but yeah, we'll see how teams go into Brackish. That's going to liven up with the Mandel brick in play.
All right, well, let's see what happens after this quick break.
Oh, Mandel brick. É, massa, hein? Os caras jogam muito, mano. Os caras fazem cada play mesmo que... Meus parabéns. Vamos voltar aí, né? Vou voltar no Raptor. Agora é Mandel Break. Agora é Mandelzinho. Os caras tem que ter muita estratégia. Muita estratégia. É posicionamento. É tudo, mano. Nossa, na cara. A WM eu vi que ele não matou nenhum com a WM, né? Eu acho que não foi dessa vez. A WMzinha. Bora.
Welcome back to week 4 of the Delta Force Rise series over here in the EMEA region, guys. It's day 1 of an action-packed weekend. And after Gataga there was our MVP team from Zero Dam. Here's your leaderboard before we dive into our first
Quem que vai pegar o primeiro Mandel Break?
Actually, more score points than I was probably expecting to see there for Gataga. Of course, they got out a few mil as well. So they got 6 supply points there and 3 kill points. Going to put them on 9 after game 1. Not too bad. And that is Rakesh coming up with a Mandel Break.
Yeah, Mandelbrick and the airdrop, one of my favorite maps of a series. In terms of our operator picks, we did see some Lunas expended. You saw Gataga and Bestwin Agatha go for 1. But in terms of our most popular operators, we do see Alluru, Toxic, and Gizmo. You were hyping up Gizmo earlier, Ben, for a lot of those, kind of just his package in terms of his abilities, right?
Yeah, and you so often see the decode on Prakesh go into that museum position where it's very tight and confined, and then you just see, the Molotovs going off everywhere, and, Gizmo spiders in those confined areas. Really, really valuable.
100%. I actually, mostly on the America side of things, is where you will witness the Allurus and sometimes even people bringing in those Tempests. But of course, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us here for some Delta Force Rise series. I've got another little giveaway for y'all. Watch your screen for a redeemable code to unlock the SR3M Combat Ready. Make sure to redeem it as soon as it appears because those activations, like I said, they're limited. This one only has 25 redemptions. If you get one, let us know in chat. In the meantime, we're going to kick things off with Agartha, who took an early exit on Zero Dam.
Mostra o mapa geral aí pra ver onde que a galera nasceu.
Spawned in the center of the map there. That means you're going to be closest to where the Mandelbrick spawns. That's LFS there down in the tower, along with DE.
Dois times no museu. Mandelbrick vai ser decodificado no museu ou bem no supermercado ali.
And then Genius off near the hotel. MBO brought in a Tempest, the only team to do so, though.
Interesting. I'm okay with that. I also I was kind of highlighting this earlier. Yes, they are technically tier 3 spawns, but NBO and Genius kind of starting up from the upper corners on Brackish. I think they'll have earlier rotations down to Royal Museum. If you're in the new tower of Babel, sometimes you're just out there anticipating that other teams are going to grab the Mandelbrick and kind of swipe it back and forth. That gives you those times to move in. Of course, Agartha, tier 1 spawns, privy to the Mandelbrick, they hop on it immediately.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, Tiff. I think the tower spawns are you're just a bit far away from the action. Takes you a little bit of time to get involved, and especially when a team's grabbed the brick so early. Agartha grabbing that one fairly uncontested there, grabbing it quick. I guess, before the other teams can get in there, you've only got one team's utility to worry about, right?
Mal começou o jogo, já tá usando o reparador de colete.
So it's open up early. 4.5 minutes on the clock, though.
Curious to see how we're gonna break this down. This is where I really start looking at your operator compositions and what you have in order to break someone apart or defend. A lot of Allurus, which we were expecting to have happen here on the EMEA side of things. Gataga does bring in a Luna again, so they will no longer have a Luna unless we go to Game 7 and we kind of unlock the operators. So honestly, kind of like it. Get a little bit of practice in on the Zero Dam. You burn it here on Brackish. That means you've got a different operator pool lined up.
Sejam todos bem-vindos que tá chegando
aí. Space City Gauntlet. Let's check in with Agartha.
Se estiver gostando, já deixa aquele like para fortalecer.
Et voir en fait, imagine qu'on va à Sarah en fait. Okay. Imagine on va à Sarah à pied et check là où ça peut nous grab.
Ah vas-y frère, il me casse le...
Já pegaram o Mandelbrick.
Ok, gênant.
Casse le drone frère.
AGT. É o show pra tá com o Mandelbrick.
Loving the Agartha position on the bookshelf there is a new one for me. Great little spot, right?
It's cheeky, right? I was gonna say, I love the French teams. I love coming in. It doesn't matter that I studied French for 8+ years of my life. My French is horrific. The only thing I heard is they're checking their right, okay?
O GOT tá marcando muito a entrada do museu.
That sounds about as good as my knowledge, I think, I remember from
aquela parte do meio, aquela parte da frente e a de baixo.
Interesting here, one of the problems
acharam o item
with
vermelho de 180
grabbing
mil.
that early and then going back into that building is I think what we kind of see is the other teams, they're taking up positions here on the decode station.
Tá liderando aí.
So don't have a clear route to go to. They're going to have to decide to push one of these teams to decide where to go with that brick. They've got no clear option. They do have the Raptor, of course, so they can do some good scouting. That's going to be really useful to them, providing it doesn't get immediately shot down. But yeah, they've only got 2.5 minutes to choose somewhere to go for a Garth. I think they might play for the museum.
Acharam pendrive, mano.
Right now.
That's also true. You look at LFS, they've got Asura camp kind of locked down. So if someone does decide to come over here, also big shout to DE, who has just been looting the new Tower of Babel. Their profits are going up. They're finding some reds. Good for them. They're going to need it in terms of those profits. For everyone else, and plus the fact that DE is still down there, the time is now. They know that it's not being decoded just yet, so they are just biding their time. And with 2 minutes left, where is Agartha going to go? They do seem to be committed to the museum.
There's certainly no need for any of our teams to panic just yet when it's been picked up so early in the game like that. They don't mind it taking a reset. If it takes a reset, they'll be able to still get it.
Jogaram uma flecha,
and the MBO will want to make sure
acertaram a flecha,
can get involved at
foi
some point.
derrubado.
We see Nox drop in Nas there with the grenade. Great hit from Gataga.
Agora é segurar.
AGT,
Cadê o outro
they're getting worried here.
Tá segurando, achou um item vermelho também.
We saw Gataga wipe Agartha in 0 dam, and immediately these are the two teams running into each other. As we pull up the map feed, you can see LFS is starting to take realization that it's not coming over to us.
Eles estão fazendo uma rotação legal.
Mandel brick initially is NBO just from that brackish market decode station.
Aparentemente só dois times aqui no museu,
in terms of Agartha. Guys,
estão bem espalhados.
The triple blaster
tá legal
trying to outline the stairway and prevent people from coming on up, but this is a fight that is a 3v2 now.
Yeah, I thought they grabbed that res to break off at the last moment. Gataga have pushed right in here. They've got Yulu, they've got the Luna, and they've got the Gizmo. There's a whole bunch of utility they can send in there, but they have decided to fall back. And the
para decodificar o Mandel Break.
Gataga grabbed it. Gataga grabbed the brick when they're in there. That was a smash and grab.
Colocando o Mandel Break.
Decode.
Yep, down, grabbed it, and now we are all Royal Museum decoding station all day.
Será que vai ser do GOT?
They have in terms of their operator composition, and this is where you start to see it come through. But them prioritizing the decode, which is the name of the game, guys, is going to allow AGT here on your screen to get the res on up. Now, here's the deal. If Nas does fall and get finned again, he's out of here. We can't bring him back.
Yeah, absolutely. And going to be very tough to push Gataga off of this. They've got such a strong defensive lineup from their operators there, but
3 minutos e 30 de Mandel Break.
Party that catches you out as
Lançou a flecha
we see on our little map feed off to my side. So many teams pushing in on this museum now. Basically,
cadê os demais times, cara, que não estão aqui no museu ainda?
Their time in the tower, and they're going to come and slowly
Estão chegando. NBO.
Okay, NBO
Tô vindo
from the
pelo
north
lado.
side, descend upon from market.
Já foram spotados.
Looking for some angles, checking
Vão
all the
entrar
spots.
por baixo,
now, what
aparentemente.
we noticed based on how they approach 0 dam is they are okay with chilling and waiting. And with 3 minutes left on the decode,
armando a
it's all
mas eles
on the
têm que ficar
hands
de olho
of
no Mandel Break.
Gataga to set up their
Não pode tirar
defense.
aquele olho do
Because
Mandel
if
Break.
you've got every
Eles
single
ficar naquela
team on the
sacada lá na
horizon,
frente.
minus DE, who, like you mentioned, is leaving
Já
the new
tão
Tower
bem
of
de
Babel
loot.
and is working their
Vi que
way
tem
up
cartão
north.
ali também.
But it's all about our resources. And you
por
know
isso que
those
eles estão com
composite incendiaries
2,7
from the
milhões.
Luru are going to be such a nuisance if multiple teams are just yeeting them at you.
Yeah, and some of the other resources our players
2 minutos e meio, aparentemente, ninguém quer tretar com o GOT.
The side of the museum there, so that's going to be a couple of
o AGT tá aqui embaixo,
estão
bem de boa, estão bem quieto ali.
That can be safe box, but of course then you
LFS está chegando do lado deles.
It's a 3x3. We also saw, I think it was LFS taking down the boss earlier. That let them get a couple of those statues, the little lucky statues.
A Tempest foi, o
There's
Taro.
MBO, our first Tempest outing of the day.
Vai roubar o Mandel Break, vai roubar.
Good work from MBO as they
Roubou.
hop on the decode,
Roubou o
keep
Mandel
the
Break,
tabs, and the ult
decodificou,
dragging them
NBO,
back
pegou o
out
Mandel
of the
Break.
line of sight now.
Foi fácil essa.
For NBO.
Demais, cara.
For the other teams that are looking to intercept,
Tempest,
can Gataga jump back on it for LFS on the outside, looking at Agartha recently back
A
to a
GT
team
tá
of three
correndo.
already
Tá
disengaging. Got
correndo,
the
ele vai fazer
D-Wolf,
de
got the
tudo pra poder
motorized
entrar
exit
nesse
accelerated.
museu aqui
We
pelo
are
lado.
out.
Pelo lado direito.
Here we can see the Chaos and Museum Team Genius.
Aparentemente o time vermelho vai roubar o Mandel Break agora.
Roubou
Roubou o Mandel Break.
Did get interrupted there by the
Roubou o Mandel Break, time vermelho, time Gen. Boa! É isso, rapaziada. É isso que o Brasil gosta. 2 minutos e 50, aparentemente, com o Mandel Break. Tá com o time vermelho, o time GN. O LFS tá chegando lá. A GT também tá chegando. A GT ainda não quis entrar lá, mano. Eu acho que eles querem esperar um pouco a treta rolar. Lembrando que quem fazer 2 Mandel Break vence. Já tá classificado.
They're kind of on that south side of the Royal Museum building.
O AGT não se movimentou muito no mapa, ele ficou do lado do museu ali um bom tempo com o Mandel Break. Por isso que ele tá só com 13 mil.
Yeah, really, they'd be the big losers if they didn't get this Mandel Break. They're the only ones invested in the Tempest, as we see. Not another full run of golds. Oh my god, 2 in a row.
Aí, mano, se toda a partida fosse assim, hein? Se toda a partida fosse com esse loot assim bom.
Why couldn't we just get like the small golds? You know, that I can stack multiple in alongside my ammo. But here we go. Will Gataga
Vamos
be
lá, rapaziada,
the team
minuto e meio de Mandel Break.
Now that we're at a minute 30 left on the decode? Or will it be LFS? You see the incendiaries going out straight towards Genius.
Time vermelho tá protegendo. Time roxo.
But that's okay.
Time roxo quer pegar a informação deles, não estão conseguindo. O time azul tá chegando. Time roxo também tá entrando por baixo. 1 minuto pra decodificar o Mandel Break.
Spins it around in a U-turn and goes towards the
balcony. O Gotcha foi derrubado, o time vermelho também foi derrubado. Estão marcando. Vai decodificar o Mandel Break. O AGT tá com medo, o time azul tá com medo. Não tá indo pra cima, mas também eles estão bem marcados.
45 seconds on the Mandel Break here.
But Genius is down to a duo. You can see one player down, one player fooled. As NBO trying to work on down, gets killed down, but gets traded out. The chaos erupting around it, and it has been stolen.
Tá marcando, pegaram, NBO pegou o Mandel Break, pegou o Mandel, perigoso aquela movimentação que o God fez, boa, finalizou o time vermelho, vai ter que sair pra curar. O God tem que levantar o parceiro deles para ter alguma desvantagem, para não ter nenhuma desvantagem, né? 1 minuto e 40 do Mandel Break.
Trying to get broken down as LFS.
Tá levantando.
Very conservative about how they approach it, and Fulleré on the ground getting picked up by Uzbishka. Not sure if we're going to be able to retrieve Cook in terms of where they fell, which is right on the outskirts here. But you have to go into the potential line of sight of other players, pulling up that map. You can just see what we're working with here with a minute 20 left on the
tá chegando pelo lado do museu.
Someone
Time azul não consegue se movimentar. Time branco, vamos dizer assim, tá chegando também. Jogou granada errada.
No, I don't think that res is gonna
eles vão roubar o Mandel Break.
Tempest though. Genius, I believe, got wiped by DEs. They made that push. I think that was what we saw from Uzbishka.
Eles vão conseguir roubar o Mandel Break.
Team Genius, they come under fire from so many different teams in the end.
Estão bem marcado.
Wasn't going to work. So 5 teams remaining here. DE are going to try and grab that brick with 50 seconds left. They got Agartha putting shots from the side though. It's going to be tough, but Fulleré is on it here.
40 segundos para roubar o Mandel Break.
Just on the balcony on the edge, but yeah, even running in and has distracted it.
Vai roubar, vai roubar. LFS roubou, o time verde roubou o Mandel Break. Estão marcando, mais 2 minutos de Mandel Break. 5 minutos de partida, 5 minutos e meio. Estourou uma bazuca perto deles. Passa a cura, um do lado do outro. Que loucura, rapaziada. Deixa o like, galera.
Yeah, Chuba sort of on his own a little bit in there. Does have the rest of the team in the corridor looking through here.
Aparentemente está dominando.
Angle. And speaking of angles, some of the angles these players know is just crazy. MBO, by the way,
essa posição é muito boa.
Lost one here, and that was their
eles estão, mas eles não podem ficar tudo junto ali, mano.
With the cords deployed, that was Enter going down there.
Eles não têm muita visão do Mandel Break.
Tabs on that.
Time roxo.
Do know that
Time roxo não tá conseguindo chegar perto. Minuto de Mandel Break.
This can only change hands so many more times, and it was genius.
Time branco tá indo roubar.
That the last time A&C
roubaram o Mandel Break. Minuto e meio.
Not gonna happen this time. But we'll see.
Pegou o Mandel.
To hold it through as DE
é o DE.
has stolen the
DE El Brabo.
Yeah, DE holding that balcony position. They grab it back. And this is traded back
quebradaço.
A whole bunch of times now. We've been on that minimum timer for a few
back tá solo.
Of the Manbrick here. So we see Maxa
precisa passar a cura, fazer cirurgia também.
Maxa maybe accepting his fate a little bit.
Minuto de Mandel Break. Deu a cara, morreu.
As Matthias goes down, that's huge from D.
QJB 201, rapaziada. Usa essa arma que tá muito forte.
Tempest, but I don't think their Tempest ult is going to be ready in time before this brick goes, so they might have to make a push without the Tempest.
Well, let's run it back and see what happened. We did see that pickup onto Nox. Okay, AGT wants to get aggressive, but DE finding a nice knock as well. Back to DE
30 segundos.
With just over 30 seconds. The implosion's not going to connect. Polaroid thrown out and just holding.
Vão roubar o Mandel Break, 20 segundos, 25,
really
24.
Seeing the Uluru shield there placed.
DE tá dominando.
To take the Mandel Break through that sneaky bit, I guess, but funny little play there as we look.
Ele não vai pegar, mano. Ele tá do lado. Time azul chegou. Chegou, vai dar treta. Pegou um. Pegou outro. Protegeu. 6 segundos. 5, 4, 3, 1 minuto. Recuperar. LFS tá com o Mandel Break. LFS tá com o Mandel Break. Então, só vivo.
They do, yeah. Just one player left, as you say, and it looked like
literally
the entire floor was on fire there as well.
Ele
you know
saiu
who's
pra
looking
segurar.
really strong now? MBO. They're the only team with 3 players up right now, and they've just got
forte, tá com os 3 vivos ainda.
Sorry, they've just finished a couple of LFS. They haven't got the last
player.
As we see MBO get pushed, and that is going to be, MBO still on 3. They got DE have been wiped.
A wipe on DE and a clutch from NBO, but burn, baby, burn, as Matthias is trying to
NBO
stabilize.
vai ter que ir pra cima, 45 segundos de Mandel Break.
That match timer,
Time
because
azul
this
tá
is going to be
marcando.
important. We're down to 2 minutes 30 seconds, and LFS has 40. LFS is
LFS
down to literally
tá confiando ainda no
one
time
player.
azul.
But if someone
Vai matar.
swipes this and
Matou.
or that timer less than
Matou
130, we have
LFS.
a problem. And LFS, it
Não
is
tem mais
frozen
Mandel
for their
Break pra
decode.
eles.
They are wiped. Will the solo
Time
from
eliminado.
Gataga go for it? Or will NBO walk into
A GT
a
tem muita chance. Tá só com o
30 seconds
Luro.
for MBO or for any of our teams to try and grab this, but surely they're going to try and do it. Cook went down near it there. No,
Tem 3 times.
This is going to be the move.
Tá pegando o Mandel Break, NBO.
NBO
vai conseguir o Mandel Break.
This is going to be the last pass of the brick. They
Nox
have to defend that with
bangou
their
ele.
lives, because there's not going to be enough time for it to go back to another team now.
And Yaku's abilities are on cooldown, right? We're not going to have
NBO
the
tá
EMP
muito
come
forte,
through,
cara.
but I do
Os
see
caras
the
tão
incendiary
jogando muito
available
bem.
from their Alluru, but here's
minuto e
Gataga.
12.
Maxa can be a real thorn on this. Because now that NBO was able to grab the decode,
Essa
the
é a
time
hora
is
que
there,
tu não tem mais
but you
capacete,
can't
tu
afford
não
to
tem
have
mais
someone jump on the
coletes.
decode and steal it, and then we'll go through this map with no one getting a Mandel Brick.
O GOT tá indo sozinho mesmo, tá indo pra
Now
cima.
Gartha, the main threat, with 2 operators left, an Uluru and a Raptor. DE, they've got 1. Gataga, they've got 1, as we see Maxa having a look for them here. And the worry is just for an MBO, is just if they get that unlucky angles with these sneaky solos they're left with Gartha, they're deploying more util. Matthias is going to get on that brick. They've got to play their lives here, right? It's the only option.
Nast.
You get on that
Tão
brick and
protegendo
you
o Mandel Break
hold.
deles.
It does not matter. We saw the
28
incendiaries coming
segundos.
through and they had one more.
Matias
You
tá
see
em
the
cima do
utilities
Mandel
coming
Break.
in from the left side. We are surrounded. Matthias standing on the brick. You're not allowing anything. The fight's breaking out. And can we stabilize 15
Protegeu o Mandel
seconds to
Break,
go
14
for
segundos,
NBO?
13.
Yeah, they just need to get every player guarding their brick with their lives. But of course, they can't all die if they go down. The brick is cancelled. There's one of them down. Nast gets one, so that's going to be 2 left up for MBO. 3 seconds on it, but Matthias is right that brick. And that is going to be
pegou
a Mandel brick. First of the day taken for
brick.
number 1, and that is a huge result for them. Coming today 11th in the leaderboard.
Round win, NBO.
You at least get 1 point on the overall to have that. If you go out and you hit the win today, that's a 10-point. Will be so nice. Of course, Chaos breaking out in the final seconds of Brackish. Kills going the way back and forth, trying to get as much value as you can. As we check in with our players, there we go. The man, Matthias, just body checking that Mandel brick decode and just giving up everything for it. Well done to number 1.
Great work from the guys there, and that investment of the Tempest, it absolutely paid off for them. If they hadn't gotten the brick, then they would have really been at a disadvantage in these other games. So they decided to gamble with the Tempest. It worked for them, and they've got a brick. And, you know, good first game for them as well, as the standards of the first game went in terms of, you know, how many points anyone got. They had a few kills. Matthias got 3, and they've got a brick now, presumably with a few kills as well. They definitely wiped DE, and there we go, 5 kills as well.
You're like, presumably with a couple of kills, and we pull it up. It's like, no, they grabbed 5. That is such a value-heavy game for number 1. And if you, like you said, are going to bring in the Tempest out here early on, yes, make it pay off. Matthias Cook enter. Brilliant stuff for them out of here on Brackish Game 2, which means that Space City Gauntlet that we're going to get later on the line, they'll be in win condition the next time we get a Mandel brick in Game 4. But in terms of our scoreboard, we got to shout out Agartha there. They went out early in 0 damage, but pick up 5 kills once we jump into Brackish.
Great scoring from Agartha there as well. Obviously no brick for them, but 5 is a very decent amount of kills to get on the board. None of our teams really getting too much value there. Genius have a bit. I think that's because Chin picked up the battle tank model that we saw, so that was safe box, but you know, everyone else, well, no one extracted from the entire map, did they? So now I'm leaving with very much at all. Obviously, you do get some money for those kills there, and that's the top kills from number 1, grabbing 3 all by himself. Agartha Tuba grabbing 3 as well.
AGT ficou em terceiro, em segundo, e em terceiro ficou
huge numbers all around for our players here in Brackish. And I was so worried about the pacing that we were going to see based off what happened in 0 Dam. But no, our teams came out, they understood. Sure, it was a little slow at first when we had AGT pop on the Mandel brick and not actually hit the decode. But in terms of our damage dealers, you do see AGT, sisters, of course, NBO, and some of the AGT as well are 2 heavy-hitting rosters that put up the biggest numbers in terms of kills.
A great work from Matthias, grabbing 3 on that board there on the assist board. And this is our assets, as we talked about. Chins managing to pull that biggest red we saw of the whole round there. And then Follerate and Hannah grabbing a bit. They were looting in the tower on their own for a little while. I don't think they really managed to pull anything too remarkable. That's just going to be what they had in their safe box. And it is Nast from Agartha grabbing the MVP. 2 kills, 2 assists, 800 damage, and just a tiny little bit of asset.
It's actually wild, right? When you start to think about it, like, hey, if you AGT coming in, grabbing that MVP, but of course, number 1, getting themselves that Mandel brick. Look, guys, week 4, day 1 over here in the EMEA side of things is just heating up. And Ben, I asked you right after 0 Dam, I'm like, look, the pacing's a little different. Brackish seem pretty normal with what we've seen over on the EMEA side of things thus far.
Yeah, 100%. And brilliant work from MBO. Something we've seen a lot throughout the EMEA tournaments has been all these players capable of getting loads of kills, capable of playing the game really well, but not always converting it to Mandel bricks. So MBO low down the leaderboard, converting to the brick. Very happy for that.
Aparentemente agora é cidade espacial.
Coming up shortly after
Não, acho que é prisão.
We'll be right back.
Jogar uma prisãozinha. Prisãozinha top, hein? Os caras fazem cada trailer é de ficar doido, cara. É cada jogada. QJB 201, rapaziada. Muito forte. O campeonato aqui tá minado de QJB. Vamos lá, estamos esperando ele se preparar para a próxima partida. E é assim, rapaziada, não conta a extração, é bem pouco mesmo conta a extração. Os reprise. Aquela jogada da Tempest ali pra pegar o Mandel Brick deles foi muito top, mano. Essa jogada foi massa também. Essa aqui também. É muito fogo, é muito tiro, é um curto espaço onde a loucura acontece, né? O Linson ali... Não, o Stickson. Ele... na prisão, terceiro round, 30 segundos. Ele... Cara, infelizmente, ele deixou a desejar ali, deixando as costas. Ele não escutou o cara chegando e nem dando tiro nele ali. Isso que o cara errou muito tiro, mano. Senão ele tinha muita chance, tá? Muita chance mesmo. Qual o seu operador favorito? Vyron, Hackclaw, The Wolf ou Stinger? Hackclaw. Hackclaw. Vitória. Lembrando que pra vitória é 2 Mandel Break. Decodificou 2 Mandel Break. The Victory. Esse lobby fechado que eles têm aqui, cara, o drop é muito alto, cara. É dourado, é vermelho. É difícil um dropzinho azul, hein? Bora. Se preparando.
Delta Force Rise Series EMEA, our first Mandel Brick round done and dusted, but now we're setting our sights over to Tide Prison. Ben, it's been absolutely electric so far, and I can't wait to see what kind of action we get on Tide Prison, because this has been like kind of the big question mark map of our game series throughout pretty much everything that I've watched.
Quite an unusual map to see. We'll talk about that in just a second as we have a quick look at the leaderboard from that match there. You can see number 1 grabbing that Mandel Brick and 12 squad points they're going to get from that one game as well. No, sorry, that's from our overall, isn't it?
Tem bastante
so 7
ponto
kill
de
points.
squad.
5 in that one game, so great result from
Prison,
them.
só tem airdrop, tá? Não tem
kind of
Mandel Brick.
unusual one. You want to try and get as much money as you can. I think also trying to get the gun as well, right? You want to get the big gun. And bringing in Nox seems to be what everyone does here. Just everyone play Nox. Double Noxes. So many double Nox teams we've seen over the event. I think the most me and Goach saw last week was 8.
2 Nox.
10. I think we saw 8 Noxes in one game, and there you go, double Nox.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Hacklaw, Nox. I mean, I think we had what 1 in Zero Dam make a showing, but of course 36% pick rate for Nox, Hacklaw, and Morse kind of rounding out our most popular operators. But if you haven't already used your Nox, you're likely going to get that double Nox, which is very valuable when you think of all like kind of the passageways on Tide Prison and those tight corridors. You can really make a lot of moves. You pop the ulti, you hit him with a silent assault, you go crazy. In terms of our spawn predictions, Agartha and Team Gataga fresh off those tier 1 spawns, not gonna get in here on Tide Prison, which is totally fine, because then you go in Space City with privy to getting those tier 1 spawns. So keep tabs on that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really key point is you don't really want the tier 1 spawn on this map, because then you're not going to get one on the next map, which is going to be Space City and is going to have a Mandel Brick. So really, you want to be a tier 2 or a tier 3 spawn in this game. Is going to be ideal as we load in to game 3 of the day. With a bag on our head, we go into Tide Prison. Our teams are going to have to escape from their cells, grab their gear and go, and they're going to be playing for kills. They're going to be playing to try and get money and maybe acquire an extra large gun with some red rounds in it along the way.
Ooh, okay. And as we get heated up here, some of my favorite fights on Tide Prison happen towards the very end of the match. But if we see a different pacing of like what we witnessed and how Zero Dam went through, I don't even know what to expect for our eco round here on Tide Prison. As we get into it, let's go ahead and look at our operator selections and who's got our privy to those tier 1 spawns, who's not going to be able to get them on
já tá dominando a lista de ativo.
It looks like Gen definitely gone. I think LFS, then they've run up from there, haven't they? They decided to not move down into Wardens. They've gone north. So those are the two that aren't going to get tier 1 on
Time verde, branco, azul e amarelo estão do lado do outro já. Já vai começar a treta do blue. No azul e
operator list on the left there. Quite a few Noxes. We got no Noxes for LFS, the only Noxless team on the board, and a double for Gataga and also for Gen there.
Já acharam uma barra de ouro.
Nice coming out through. Do see
NBO
Gizmo there on DE. Some hack claws for Gataga, and as we shift around, LFS does bring in the Shepherd. Of course, we do have pretty much purple gear, purple ammo. You're not really going to see those golds until we get deeper into Space City, and we'll see where people hedge their bets on bringing in potentially more Tempests paired with some gold ammo and some gold armor. But for now, Tide Prison is all about just setting the sights and like your stakes, getting those resources for the next 3 space cities.
It is, and also getting as many points as you can, squad points, right? Particularly, obviously NBO want to maximize that, but any team, there's going to be other teams here today that you would expect to pick up a Mandel brick at some stage, and when they do, you kind of get these two-tier leaderboard, right? You have the leaderboard of the teams that are drawing on a Mandel brick, and then you have the teams that don't, and then those squad points become very valuable. So this is an opportunity for our teams to show us their fragging skills, to try and get as many kills as they can, and if you can get yourself 4 or 5 kills, that's 4 or 5 score points, and that could make a big difference on the leaderboard. As Yaku here, gonna get revived. Was that a boss knock or a falling knock? It was.
Derrubaram
o looks like
Yaku's embarrassed. Time azul. Vou falar time azul, tá, rapaziada?
J'ai regardé l'horizon et voilà quoi.
Bah écoute,
a lista não atualizou. Ainda tá com... O time vermelho tá com 1.3 milhões.
Don't get the replay too.
Oh, Yaku. Poor Yaku.
Morreu? Morreu de queda.
Just like me. Just like me. No, I'm just kidding. But here's the deal, Yaku. It's all fun and games. This is the time of the map to make that happen, right? You're gonna get picked back up. You're gonna forget about it. No one saw anything. I'll just grab one of those little mind eraser things from Men in Black, and it's totally fine. Even chat's not looking at you. Chat, look away.
Yeah, something I think we can all relate to that as Delta Force players, and we'll be very happy at that point. There's no kill feed, so the other teams weren't aware of Yaku making that little mistake, and they will get away with it.
NBO é porque venceu, né? Por isso que
over there, 1.4 mil. It's a big number and it sounds great,
então
but it's also
a GT
massive,
time azul tá dominando a classe de ativos. Achou um servidor de 1.4 milhões.
Hey, it's a nice looking thing, and we love to see a red.
See, we love when they're very small reds that retain their value. And we're like, oh, good. We can just kind of get this straight into the safe box. Of course, once we have those airdrops, even the ammo for those, like, the M82 or the AWM, it's, like, so nice to be able to just take out if you do, or at least throw that in the safe box for value. Now, here's the deal, guys. I was looking through prior Tide Prison performances, and in some of those earlier weeks, Gataga has some high kill Tide Prison maps. I'm like thinking that I believe it was like 8 on their group, one of their first or week 2 showings, 6 on group A and D in week 2. Gataga likes to fry out here when they can.
It doesn't surprise me at all. We saw Nox second in the kill leaderboard overall with 37, Maxa 5th overall with 31, going into today's we see the
acharam mais item
second
vermelho.
Laser, I think that thing's called.
698
so many reds to remember. 700k. That one's a little smaller, a little easy. I think it's a 1x3, right? It's a little easier to carry 4 stick than the blade server. But yeah, Gataga, they pick it up so many kills this tournament. And, keep in mind, Nox was second in the kill leaderboard going into today, but the players above had a game in hand, so yeah, they know what to do.
LFS tá marcando o time amarelo.
Definitely, as we reach kind of that 13-minute mark here in our Tide Prison matchup, and you start thinking about where that initial airdrop's going to hit, and at about 2:50, we'll feel pretty solid with that. However, no real chaos happening on our map in terms of fighting just yet. If I'm NBO and I just grabbed a Mandel brick and Brackish, I want to just conserve my consistency here for this Tide Prison and then really lay it out on the line when we get to Space City. Now, historically on groups A versus C, guys, we went the distance. Like, we were back in week 1,
12 minutos e 40 de partida.
We had a game 7, and no team got 2 bricks.
Dá de ver até o tubarão ali, galera.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. It's been so close in so many of these, and it's also been interesting the way it's been so different on some weekends and some match days. Sometimes people are contesting every single brick, and then sometimes someone picks a brick and everyone just lets them take it, and you're wondering why everyone's not trying to do anything, and you end up with all these different teams getting one brick each. So who knows what route we're going to go down today. I think we're going to go down a little bit of a slow-paced, sneaky route on Tide as we normally see. This is Agatha. Sneaking around, stay away from that zip line there. That could be dangerous, boys.
Time vermelho tá luteando, tá com 2.4 milhões, tá liderando.
But for now. Ooh, hey, Nas. This is where I want to be able to like hear their comms and be like, what are we discussing here? What's our game plan? What are we planning on doing as everyone's kind of still up? You see like Gataga, Agartha, LFS, DE up on that side of things.
11 minutos e 40 segundos.
They look close together on the map, but we know for a fact there is so much space in between these teams that I'm just curious to see who's going to kind of run into each other first, as Genius have left kind of the boss area and have wrapped their way back up towards NBO.
Yeah, there's so many levels to Tide Prison. That's kind of what makes both Morse and Nox so powerful in this. There's so many flanking opportunities for Nox, and then when you pop that Morse ult, you can scan so many different players and teams across different levels and see exactly where they are. It can be a little hard to tell by the audio comms, although I'm sure these players can do it a lot better than I can. As we see DE almost engaging with LFS here. Stick's taking some damage, but no angles opening up really just yet. No Nox on board.
Okay, NBO, let him cook. Nice little 330k item there, but also still pretty big in terms of reds.
Oh, Reds. Acharam champanhe. Boa, NBO.
See, these are the cheeky passageways and why I love Tide Prison.
NBO tá luteando.
Yeah, sneaky little air vents here, and now we're looking down into the bathroom.
Agora eles já estão com munição.
There, Nox in the background, a distant
Poxa, barra dourada.
NBO, so we get a lovely little panning shot of everyone holding their angles and waiting for those kills. We've got 10 minutes on the board here. Airdrop coming down in just over a minute. We do normally see things come to a head pretty late on. Very similar to Zero Dam or normal Zero Dam. Not quite such a normal Zero Dam we had today, right? But normally a late one for Tide.
So here's the deal. That airdrop's hitting just on the southwest watchtower area, just on the horizon of the water. Don't know if anyone is going to hit a crazy rotation
for
it,
água aqui, rapaziada, porque o Bracash foi punk.
It should be relatively uncontested.
Demais.
Yeah, that was DE there. They're certainly the closest ones to it at the moment. It's often an airdrop you see get contested by multiple
teams. Tem cartões espalhados pelo mapa para poder abrir as portas.
Huge amount else going on in the middle of these games as teams are just biding their time, waiting for those opportunities to kill. So why not go airdrop?
Boa demais.
Yeah, from what I can see over on the map feed, it's just DE in that region at the moment, and here we see them swimming in.
18 segundos, 17 para cair o airdrop. O airdrop aparentemente vai cair bem aqui nesse canto onde que o DE tá chegando, time branco.
Between you and me, I named one of the Sharks
caindo o airdrop.
On the America side of things. I mean, it just seemed really fitting. It's kind of dapper for a Shark. Makes him less threatening.
No sign of Frank the Shark getting involved just yet as Folorate jumps in, and this is going to be the airdrop with the golds, and I'll be lucky if he gets a red out of that given today's airdrop standards. No, looking like golds all the way once again, and not going to be doing them much good.
At least they're small.
Deram uma levantadinha no
ativo but I mean,
deles
in terms of DE, we're still at 1 mil in profits for them. NBO kind of scouting throughout these corridors as we have to think about what DE is going to do. If we're going to retrack back on up. Some teams likely moved into the positionings that you were holding, so you could find issues along the way. For NBO alone on the eastern side of Tide Prison, with 8 minutes left, I want to see some people start putting some positions in play to get active.
Time amarelo tá tretando.
Yeah, 8 minutes on the match timer as we hear the boss fights kicking off. The bosses shooting each other, or the AI shooting each other. There's not players fighting. We can hear there. We've got 3 minutes till the southern extract becomes available. That's the one down in the water near where they picked up that airdrop just a minute ago. This is even
keep an eye out here. Talking of those, you know, the different sized reds we were talking about earlier on, right? That blade server worth a lot, but absolutely huge. We were talking earlier outside of the broadcast about last week, there was a 4 million keycard pulled. That was Mandelbrick Addiction. They had a 10 million extract on Zero Dam. If you can find yourself a keycard, that's a great one to find, right? The tiny little reds,
não usam colete danificado.
But like realistically, the odds of finding that week after week is very slim to none. Like over in America's last weekend, we did not find anything of that caliber. But that's okay, because people are focused strictly on battling for those bricks, and no brick here on Tide Prison. It's all about getting your profits up, and Genius on 2.4 mil, but the rest of the teams relatively similar. It's only Gotaga trailing behind just a smidge, but that's okay because you think about how their Zero Dam was, and they really made the most of it.
O pássaro aqui é gigante. Ó,
yeah, Gartha,
o time amarelo tava tretando com o time verde
already, so they have got points on the board. It's really kind of Gartha and MBO are teams that have picked up a nice amount of kills.
Agora vai começar a matança, né? 6 minutos e 40 segundos.
LFS coming under a bit of trouble here. Imperator is taking
atrás dos tiros.
Large amount of damage there as they all swim away. They got
o time branco aparentemente tá lá na rua. Tá lá na rua, foi pela água mesmo. Querem ficar pro final, acho que não.
You can see is kind of
não querem garantir muitas kills, não entendi, ou querem chegar só pra dar TP mesmo.
From a different angle, so even if someone does want to bullet check him right off the initial, they're not going to be shooting in the same spot. For Kilo, though, just a little bit scouting along the way, and for LFS, a bit of a swim over here.
No way.
This is LFS kind of over near one of the potential extract points. Obviously, you don't know where the extract's going to be. If someone does end up pulling the levers nearer the center of the map. They're in that area at the moment, maybe gambling that might be an extract. Certainly what we can see, I mean, even on the mini-map, we can see 3 different teams in this small area there. And then we can see Imperator running around off in the middle of the map, in the middle of the screen. So all of our teams, or a lot of our teams, getting very, very close together now as we build to
o time vermelho tá bem do lado do time roxo.
O
GN e o NBO.
DE did not send back up north either. They dived back down to the West Watchtower area. Like you said, 20 seconds so left on that reservoir area. Southern Extract. Will they decide to go for that? Potentially.
O Vlad do GOT.
Distant map for them.
Não tá numa posição muito boa.
A team that is pretty up and down in terms of getting their kills here on Tide Prison. I would love to see a couple team wipes go their way.
Nas ruínas. Aparentemente vai pegar o time da LFS. Tá descendo igual louco.
People are being conservative in week 4. I'm just going to go ahead and put it out that way.
Escorregou na pedra e já era.
A little trap about to be unleashed on LFS here. They're moving down. Are they going to use some util? And they are. And this is very, 100%. Very well placed from even look at that to read that.
Nossa
and the trap has been busted.
Essa granada de spot foi muito boa.
Yeah, you 100% connect. And if you are DE, you're like,
essa granada de spot foi muito boa.
I've been found out. And I'm just going to hide behind my rock here. But this signals Stickinson to kind of put that groundwork in on the Shepherd, just getting closer, wanting to really search on out. We got Polaroid just towards the right. But even with that, you want to be conservative because you don't know if there's a trap for you from DE. Oh, this peak. Okay.
Yeah, so bold of Stick to move out there. They knew there was a player there. They knew there was a trap there, but just gone down with limited intel. They only have the Morse, of course. So,
não foi nem
not even the Morse, no
parceiro lá, mano.
Toxic Gizmo. Yeah, so they couldn't really get anything else. And we've seen Imperator and even taken down. That's a double at LFS. Wow.
O time azul chegou.
1, 2, 3.
O time azul chegou.
Was the board for DE.
And the timing is so crazy.
O LFS, o time verde que chegou ali foi todo eliminado.
Kind of sandwich them out and immediately take the benefit. For DE, yes, you lose that on Polaroid and you're down to 2 for now and want to regain if you can. But we also have NBO and Gotaga headbutting each other up into the north. For now, still plenty of chaos. AGT stabilizing with 2. Chuba still down and Nast. 1 HP throwing it down, trying to heal.
Foi derrubado.
Yeah, AGT dropped, but that is DE gone as another team comes to party. I can't believe we're seeing the prison fight going off here. That's a Gartha wipe, and it's 1 by 1. Our teams are falling outside near the extract here. Normally it's right in the middle of the map, but it's great to see all kicking off down near the extract. Genius have grabbed that. It's only number one and Genius left on the map. We can see number one. They're right up in the middle here. Nowhere near this fight. And Team Genius, they can grab a load of loot here and... Well, I don't think they're really
Eu acho que eles vão ter a chance de distrair
really for them to get off the map. They're way away
até
from
NBO
Bagless,
chegar.
but kills on the board and they can safe
NBO vai aparentemente puxar a alavanca.
If you're dark entities and you were holding down the West Watchtower area waiting to see who was going to approach, you thought you were going to get maybe an isolated fight looking for that extract. No, you get full scent, and then Agartha comes down, and then Genius comes down, and the only team that survives is Genius, but they only grab 2 kills from that engagement. A ton of profits to be had, and then even so, you check in to see what's left. Hey, say hi to Frank there on the left, and he's not going to get involved here, but that's totally fine. NBO, I believe, took down Gataga, so should have some kills from their engagements up north.
Yeah, good spot. I missed that one. So that'd be some nice points for NBO. And I think probably the winners down in the south is going to be DE and
pegou
Agartha.
5 milhões, luteou todo mundo ali.
Obviously, Jen came along and mopped up at the end and got a couple.
Agora chegou a hora de puxar a extração, né? 1 minuto e 40
They did have a
segundos.
knock on D. I'm not sure they
Já
got
vão
the
se trombar
confirm on that
aqui.
or not. But we'll be interested to see. This is NBO there. Well, they're completely on their own, but Jen have actually moved up pretty close here. They're going to scout out with the Raptor. And presumably someone's going to try and get up to Bagless. It's the only option for somebody else. They're just going to fight for points here because NBO want every point they get. They've got 3 kills at the moment.
Yeah, if I'm going down, you're coming down with me, and every kill's worth 800k. NBO having 3 and Jen having 3 as well. You might as well see how many squad points you can get from your kills because it's going to come down to the wire. NBO fresh off Commando Brick still wanted to keep that action going. About 25 HP on the opposing side of things, and Matthias, not sure if that player is going to give it to him. Kilo wants to join up and provide some resistance there with the team.
Matias joga muito, mano.
NBO with Enter Last Alive.
Matias joga
you got to give it a go. Haven't used less than a minute left on the match timer. Why not try and grab a kill? Was the last remaining player from NBO. Enter is going to take the bag track. They have a couple of mil there.
O Enter
in
extraiu.
Presumably most of that is going to be
30
on NBO. That's going to be the only player to leave the map. Gen managed to grab themselves 4 kills there to
2
Genius,
milhões.
so not too shabby. They got 5 mil in profits, but that's not going to be coming with them because they're not going to be leaving the map. They will be able to safe box a little bit.
Vamos ver eles luteando. Bota ali a câmera eles luteando.
Maybe they had some big items.
There we go. There you go. And
see how much they get to walk away with. I hope that you have just been playing all the rearranging that you need for your safe boxes as we look through it. Maximizing. Got a couple dog tags in there.
Ai, tem que pegar as tags também.
And there you have it. Tied Prison. Chaotic
Chain.
at the very last moment. And honestly, the highlight of the game, the West Watchtower area fight.
100%. It took a while to get going, as you know, Tide often does. It's always a little bit slow and steady, but yeah, that's the first time I've seen.
Pessoal, agora é cidade espacial. Agora é cidade espacial e tem muita treta porque tem Mandel Break. E se o time NBO pegar novamente o Mandel Break, se pegar novamente o Mandel Break, é campeão. Desta quarta semana. Best team. AGT Showba. Nast.
Some fun vibes. We didn't necessarily do vibe checks here today, but we definitely had one with Yaku.
Yeah, they turned up at the right time, didn't they? Interrupted sort of
Squadboard.
Well, we're just in the process of killing LFS, and then Agartha turned up and picked up kills on DE. I think they might have caught one of LFS as well, and then everybody else turned up as well. 5 kills for Agartha, 4 for Genius, 3 for number 1. That's, you know, decent amount of points really for that.
Boa demais.
Teams, of course, they're at the top with the Brick as well.
AGT teve 5 kills.
For Gataga and LFS. Surprisingly for Gataga, they're normally out here slaying
top matador. Campeonato top, hein?
Grabbing the top kills and then Chins. And
then AGT Yaku.
Some solid kills around.
Top damage.
Top damage dealers, and if you've got Uzbishka there in the
top
kills, well, of course they're going to be the top
USB.
And I would imagine that we have breached 10k. We'll check in with that later, but I would assume we are incredible.
Top assistência é o Nast. AGT.
Matthias over there for NBO and Cook as well for number 1. Some solid performances all around as we
Pode ser a última partida, hein? Top ativos 1.100.000 NBO é o que conseguiu extrair. O único que conseguiu extrair. NBO, uma assistência, 2 kills, 300 de dano, 1.100.000 de ativos. Bora lá, vamos se preparar aqui para a cidade espacial. Special City.
Now I'm curious if we're going to start seeing like a change of hands, if we're going to have 3 different teams step up on Space City, giving us that coveted Game 7. Only time will tell y'all, but we're going to cut to a quick break.
Será que é a última partida? NBO, será que vai levar? Será que tem chance? Tem chance, hein? NBA tem muita chance. Eles estão jogando muito bem. Loading. Season 1, quarta semana. Ele caiu de queda, mano. Não conseguiu agarrar ali. Só pra rir. Essa treta aqui fora, mano, foi meio injusta, né, cara? Sei lá. Não foi uma treta muito boa, assim. Essa mira que eles estão usando na QJB é insana, tá? 2 minutos para começar a cidade espacial Round 4. Round 4.
To break down one of the most electric, high-octane 1v3 clutches we've seen so far. Joining me on the couch to dissect this unbelievable display of mechanical dominance is the Clutch King himself, Team Gotaga's star fragger, Maxa. Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
In that final 2v1 duel through the smoke to stop the brick decode, casual viewers might not realize quite what was happening there. In those last moments with 3 seconds left on the brick, Scooby trying to steal, you were forced to hip fire because of the Raptor EMP grenade. How much confidence did you have in that situation whilst not even being able to aim down sights and knowing you're outnumbered?
During the game, you constantly keeping track a little detail, like your opponent armor condition. I knew his helmet was gone and his vest was broken because my teammate said to me. So I didn't need to overcomplicate the fight in that situation. No, so aiming down sights through the smoke on the Mundle. What can I say? I just hip fire because he EMP me with his stuff. So I just react faster and I just shoot for the two last guy. I trust my tracking and I commit to spray. So sometimes the best decision isn't the flashiest one. It's just the most efficient.
Maxa, your IGL Vladid mentioned that the core mentality behind Team Gotaga's success is that you're all close friends first and teammates second. You guys have had huge success so far in the tournament. When your heart's pumping and you're in those intense Mandelbrick fights, how do you think this level of trust between you and your teammates has helped you get an edge over the enemy teams?
I think that's one of our biggest strengths.
Ele tá falando que todas as fights elas são difíceis, ainda mais quando tem smoke.
During stressful moments, nobody is shooting or blaming each other.
É hip fire, pré-fire, fazer é atirar.
They trust me, so, and,
ele tá falando que confia no time dele.
That's helped me to stay calm, focus on what's happening instead of thinking about the pressure and the consequence. At that point, it's just about making the right plays with the information I have.
An absolute tactical masterpiece and a masterclass in ice-cold composure under the heaviest pressure. Thank you for walking us through that legendary clutch, Maxa, and best of luck in the rest of the season.
É agora, vai começar. Cidade Espacial. Brakesh. Não... Eu não vi, mas vai ter... No mapa novo não tem, né, mano? É muito novo, né? Se bem que tem muita gente que já decorou os pixels, né, mano? Que esse jogo aqui é muita posição, pixel, calma, loucura, de tudo um pouco. De tudo um pouco.
Welcome back to the Delta Force Rise series as we check in with some of our teams fresh off a tied prison. This is where things are starting to heat up. We're about to move on to 3 back-to-back Space City Mandelbrick rounds, Ben, and I couldn't be more excited, but I feel like we need to lay it down, see, because NBO, who we just saw, is on win condition for game number 4, but for Genius, LFS, all of our teams looking to get some bricks and to be able to take a dub on the day, you gotta start now.
Yeah, huge opportunity for our teams to get themselves up near the top of their leaderboard now. NBO are going to be the only ones there. Doesn't matter how many squad points they have, they will be top because of that Mandelbrick, but they are in fact also joint on squad points. So that's a big deal for them because we've sometimes seen in these events a team have a Mandelbrick and be sitting up there at the top, but by the end of the day 4 teams have a Mandelbrick and suddenly they're sitting in 4th place because they don't have enough squad points. So they're joint with Agartha at the moment in terms of squad points. They can just keep chipping away, keep that total respectable. You know, they're going to be guaranteed probably a top 2 place as long as they can just keep that squad point going in the right direction. So great work from NBO so far. They definitely need the points today.
100% LFS and Agartha also in those kind of must-win situations. Agartha is in 8th place, tied on that overall group stage leaderboard, but the teams that are looking to break out of the bottom 2, like number 1, Living for Success, those are the teams that are likely going to jump over 4 POV or Agartha if you don't lock it in. So seeing Agartha at the top with those squad points is quite nice as we move into, like I said, the back-to-back Mandelbrick rounds. And in terms of our operator picks, guys, we did see one Tempest get invested from number 1 back on Brackish, net themselves a Mandelbrick, but we still have 2 Tempests available for everyone else. In terms of our Luna picks or our Lurus, things like that we see people kind of bring out for information and defending those decodes. Ben, what do you think we're going to get here?
Operador por partida.
Yeah, some interesting choices there. Stinger, of course, very popular on this map for the smoke, for the heals, primarily really the smoke, especially if you get that Westgate Prio spawn. Can be pretty sketchy running in. Tempest, of course, popular one as well. I'd be surprised if we see NBO bring in a Tempest here. I think they'll probably choose to rest to try and get back on par with the other teams. If they use the Tempest now, they'll have potentially 2 more games with no Tempest, unless they just maybe going to just throw themselves in and hope they can close out here. You can see the Prio spawns, so it's going to be Kataga, DE, NBO, and Agartha getting the toss up for those tier 1s.
Very interesting if you're LFS or Genius. We also see teams not usually wanting to heavily invest on their favorite operator pools, such as like bringing in a Tempest if you're not guaranteed a tier 1 spawn. I would imagine with a team already having used Tempest on Brackish, you have to throw in and see what you can do, guys, in chat. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm back with another giveaway, okay? This time, we got a redeemable code for 1,000 Delta tickets, and it's going to appear on your screen. Redeem it as quick as you can before all of the activations are claimed. This one only has 15 redemptions. So if you don't get it, you've just got to be quicker than that next time. Good thing you still have 2 more days left in our group stages this weekend for the EMEA side of things, or just be a little bit of a degenerate and stay up for Americas later on today and look for some code redeems there.
So much Delta Force you can watch right now with NA coming up after this. But first is going to be EMEA Game 4, the first Space City game of the day, the second opportunity for our teams to grab on Mandelbrick as we go into round 4. Dropping in with Jen. They're in the dorm area, and we're going to see a Gartha down at Westgate. That's one of the prior spawns, and it's MBO I can see on the other side of the map with the other priority spawn. Let's see how well AGT get in here, because this at Westgate could be pretty sketchy.
It truly is, especially with how quick Gen is just full sending. They bring in the D-Wolf, they're throwing the triple blaster, they also have a Tempest, and I'm looking throughout NBO, you called it, Ben, do not bring in a Tempest. They throw down with a Shepherd Stinger Luna combo, which I equally like for them, kind of just on that northeastern side of where that Mandelbrick will spawn in about 15 seconds. And I love that we do see a Gartha get out of Westgate alive.
O time vermelho, o time amarelo.
And that means we now have a Gartha D and MBO already very close to the break with LFS coming up from the south as well. So 4 teams closing in on it. We only actually have 3 teams with a Tempest in the lobby. MBO, as you mentioned, not bringing one in. Also LFS and DE not bringing in a Tempest. LFS and DE still have both Tempests to use, so they can go in 2 games, 5 and 6 potentially, and they'll use a Tempest in both of those and hope for that sort of later advantage once other teams have used theirs up. This is even LFS. The brick is in now. Everyone just sitting nearby. I'm going to see who's going to make the play for it as we see our lineups and armor choices there.
Gataga and Agartha investing heavily in this round. Solid golds aside from the Yaku bringing in purple ammo. You do see NBO investing in the gold ammo, same with LFS, DE, and Gen. So DE invested heavily in this, and the fact that, you know, we'd want to see some throwdown, especially when they don't bring in Tempest, hedging their bets for another couple rounds on Space City.
Something I thought was quite interesting, seeing the Lunas used up. I think Gataga had used all their Lunas before this game, so they were Lunaless, and they've decided to prio Raven. So you can see they've come in with a Raven and the Tempest and the Toxic there. They decided that's going to work better for them on this map. Certainly useful when you're outside. The Raptor, Luna, obviously good for those shock darts and the grenades. As well as we see Cook here. Keep an eye across onto the bridge. That's on, Gataga over there on the suspension bridge. Just trying to find an angle.
I'm just going to lay down, Ludid, it's fine. Just play dead for a second. Don't let him get you. Don't let him get you. The thing is, he has no idea, and we're just sitting here, and I feel like this, like, all-seeing eye.
Ele quer acertar na cara, né?
Trigger discipline on Cook is crazy. I would have already, like, tried to take out an elbow.
It's so, I mean, it's both, it's easy to forget how much extra information you get used to when you see these views. We can see all the players on the map, we can see the map, but also, don't underestimate the map knowledge these players have about angles. They know where the vulnerable angles are and where players are likely to be. So, maybe a tactical lie down there to avoid the angles. We see GOT, they're just going to move back into assembly here. Have a look around printing rooms and such. That's Maxa. Maybe trying to find a bit of loot. No one's made a play for the brick yet. Everyone's biding time. Tempest ults will be ready. So if one of these teams decide to use that, have we got a Tempest nearby?
Vai pra cima do Mandelbrick. Tá chegando perto do Mandelbrick.
In the area on the bridge now, yeah. Most of our teams in the area in the center now.
All right, here we go. DE getting on the Mandelbrick, picking up early. Now the question is, where do we go for our decode? Typically, we do see a lot of the same decoding stations, and it's always kind of that hallway that's very akin to where the Mandelbrick spawns. Occasionally, we'll have someone running out to dormitory, but you do run into the issue of potentially getting caught out on that rotation. And you see with Jen already
já tá rolando o Mandelbrick, 4 minutos.
You will have focused out on, if they go up that way. However, same, but different. The setup begins as the decode is placed.
Muito longe.
Yeah, it's gone to buoyancy. We see this one used a lot. It's quite, it's so close to the Mandelbrick grab, right? You can just grab it and get very quickly onto that decode station without making any crazy rotations. We have seen a few crazy rotations after the last few matches. We saw NBA taking one round to dormitory last weekend. We've occasionally seen, down in the back as extract used, but game one on Space today is going to be the classic buoyancy. And this is kind of a weird one because you get so many third parties coming in. As teams try and push it, then they get shot in the back, and it
can be kind of chaotic. Pixel diferente.
Well, here we go for now. Just kind of taking care of some things here with a little knifey knife. Now, in terms of how we're going to see this decode swiped from DE, because it's going to trade hands just a bit, because Jen, now fresh off that central command bridge, have descended upon the Buoyancy Lab and how they want to lay siege to it. I'm looking at the teams that have Tempest and managing your ult cooldown to be able to kind of run in there, because you know for the people that are laying traps and holding these angles and not letting anyone get through there, they have the most value of just yeeting in there and getting out.
Yeah, the Tempest definitely a huge advantage for grabbing the bricks because he's Tuba grabbing a quantum storage there. And this is Gataga pushing across employee passage there. Has been spotted out by Cook. He's going to keep an eye on that. Maybe he's going to try and stay hidden, see if they'll actually come up the ramp here. But this is what we so often see on Space. When one team is decoding, all of the other teams end up fighting each other and the decode team gets to kind of sit there. But this is the decode team. This is Kilo. They got a Tempest ult gone and pushing up the stairs towards Jen here.
You're burning your ult here early on and just on the underside of things. But Gataga, Maxa running up the ramp. You can see Vladid already on the vehicle just on the backside. But NBO Cook has to hold this angle. And the moment someone breaches up where they're visible, Cook is going to light them up.
Vai dar uma bala.
Yep, the stinger here employed by Cook. Going to keep an eye out, look for those headshots, but good armor brought in by Gataga as well. So
errou o tiro,
that
mas
is
se
going to be
pega
able to
aquele
tank a
tiro.
little bit of that
Cheguei, já
damage.
tá rolando, tá
They're gonna
rolando.
try and maybe rotate around
aí,
another
Felipe,
way here.
tranquilo?
Have a little look at the bridge. As we see that decode time, it's already down to 90 seconds on DE. So
NBO
someone's going to push again. We still got three potential Tempest. Jen used their Tempest a minute ago.
Mandou break lá em Brakesh.
Guitar a bit busy, but
tá na
Garth is
frente,
surely going to make a place.
é a primeira cidade
You kind
espacial,
of have
né?
to, right? Once it gets to 1 minute, this is where everyone kind of really starts to full send it, which can
DE
cause a lot of
tá
chaos, which could
decodificando o
lend
Mandel
suit for
Breaking.
DE if people are getting lit up
minuto
before they
pra
can even
eles
get to the
conseguirem
decode
decodificar.
station. Fullere doing some nice defense here. But as you can see, people switching their approach to the decode. And we're under a minute now.
50 segundos.
Who is going to be the one to jump on it?
DA!
The thing is, the teams, unless they've picked up Nox somewhere, then they don't really know who's decoding this right now.
Agora essa hora que todo mundo vai pra cima.
As to what team it is. So for all they know, it could be match point about to go. Which always seems crazy to me when you don't see the teams commit. And I feel like even at 30 seconds here, I feel like this won't change because when you leave it so late to push, yeah, they've still got all their utils. You have to kind of wait for all their utils to go and then make the move.
Well, positions exposed. Data Knife's coming in.
Derrubaram
And
da
Fullere
GT.
has to pull, but he's
Derrubaram
stunned
da
up
GN
and wants
também.
to connect. Vishka
Tão bem
finds a
perto do
knock.
Mandel Break.
Everything's breaking through. Nox grabs one. Now, at the hands, did someone grab the decode? Mind you, 2.5 seconds is needed to take it. And 5 seconds are on the clock. Does this go the way of DE? Ain't no way they get it like this.
DA
Wow, free
extraiu o Mandel Break.
Não
teve muita treta.
At the end, but everyone, as we so often see, left it way too late.
Agora o bicho pega.
So DE
Agora o bicho
on
pega.
the board now. They're on 10 squad points at the moment. So they are 8 points behind MBO, which is a nice comfortable gap for number one. They'll be pleased with that.
Extrair não decodificar o Mandel Break de boa.
They actually just got one.
Agora
There's been
começa
a
a
lot of
parte
knocks
de
popping off.
kills,
That's
né?
Chins, Kilo taken down by Fuller and Uzbishka.
Nenhum time eliminado por completo ainda.
Hannah left now for Jen. DE still got all 3 ups.
Bala dourada rolando.
Well, for now, Jen, pop the res, Kilo back up.
NBO,
thanks to the
cadê
Tempest self-res
NBO?
here, and NBO.
NBO,
some
aí
angles.
ó,
Now,
Matias.
if you invested in
Tá
solid
só
goals,
observando
you
pra
kind
ver o
of
que
do
tá
want to make
rolando.
sure that we
Eles
preserve
estão
our
chegando
value
pro
going
TP
back
mesmo.
into the next Space City. But we'll have to see what you can do. LFS there looking for the hardcore reset.
Eles
If
estão
we
pra
can get
maldade,
back up
estão
to a
pro third
team of
party.
3. But with Matthias here holding those angles, not going to let Stickinson do too much.
Nasty place
GN foi mais eliminado. Só tem mais do GN vivo. Tá embaixo deles. LFS foi totalmente eliminado. NBO eliminou eles. Tá uma loucura. NBO vai dominar também os pontos. Já dominou, né? 21 pontos.
Making the most out of their Luna pick to throw a lot of damage. And pick up those kills.
Eu acho que foi uma jogada do NBO, tá?
Talked
Pra
about
pegar
their
número bom
investment,
de
bringing in
kills,
the
que também
solid goals,
conta
bringing in the
pontos.
Tempest. Now you've got to find your value in terms of those kills. Nox The drone up in the sky.
Eu acho que não tá acostumado a jogar com Raptor.
On the entry frag, dives into the entry, hip firing through.
I'm
starting to get really nervous.
Here, isn't it? They're fighting little medical.
Chegou o Matias, matou o último do time vermelho, foi eliminado de GN. Chegou o DE, o Flari que tá eliminou o NBO sozinho.
That's huge points against the team above them in the leaderboard there.
Yeah, that was a utter annihilation, if I say so myself. Chuba out here. Little self-heal stinger action.
Flari do DE eliminou
Not only do they get the mantle
brick, praticamente sozinho.
You wipe your opposition that was in win condition.
Team.
So you're denying them any more potential squad points. And you are on the move to get yourself a ton of them. With Gataga and Dark Entities being your only team of 3, Agartha down to a duo.
Tá no trabalho e tá acompanhando o down.
Just kind of in neighboring buildings now.
Just 3 teams remaining now. 3 up for DE. They are on 6 kills. 4 for Folerite. 2 for Fleric. I'm sure Azbishka has plenty of damage despite the 0 kills. Targus are with 3 up. Yeah, only 3-point difference now between number 1 and DE.
Vai pegar o Shoba.
Perform well. They came off the back of a 2nd place in their last match. They've had a win, a 10-point win earlier on in the tournament. So, you know, they've been in that top spot before and they're pushing for it now after, well, farming some kills in game 4 here.
Shoba tá rilando.
All about farming.
Não tem mais o terceiro teammate deles.
Fleric here. On the
DE e o GOT estão com o time completo ainda.
Angles, checking in with the duo of AGT.
Estão no mesmo prédio.
I love how it was just like all action non-stop. DE grabs an easy brick, and now we're into like the last 6 minutes of our match, and it's like, okay, yes, what's gonna happen as DE Uzbishka gets some sight lines onto Gataga.
DE also grabbing that brick with no Tempest as well. They haven't used the Tempest yet today, so they're going to go into game 5 with 2 Tempests still to use and a brick already on the board. So great work from them. MBO have used 1 Tempest in that first game. They didn't throw one away for this game.
Não tá aparecendo nada ali no
so they will have 1 to bring. Vazio. Game 5 or game 6. But yeah, Gartha and Gataga here both committing a Tempest and not really yelling a lot from it, but they do have a chance to get some kills and get a few squad points on the board here.
Rapaziada, temos mais uma partida, mais uma round.
In a moment
Esse é o
to breathe
round
for
4.
our teams on the move. Curious to see what the plan of action is. Does AGT decide to go over to Horizontal Test Workshop, grab that extract, send one out? Relatively bagless, but hey. Or for now, you just kind of watch and see what the other 2 teams are gonna do.
Que o AGT tá lá do outro lado, mano?
Might
time azul. O
get someone off the map here. They do have all that gold they brought in with them, but they're gonna have plenty of money from all those kills. 800k for every kill, of course.
Extração.
So
seria uma boa também pra treta ser lá na
pretty happy to get some more of them. You're also limited. You know, it's not just how much money you have. Depends on what equipment you can bring in. You are also just limited on how much gold you can get, how much gold ammo, gold armor.
So
something to consider. As we see the supply drop loot here, but nothing too exciting coming up from that.
Não veio uns itens muito bons no airdrop.
And just constantly keeping angles, checking for literally any sign of life over here. Meanwhile, Nox is like, I'll just take to the sky.
Deixa o like, galera. Deixa o like. Vamos ter mais uma run.
See what's going on. Now, technically, these 2 teams are more on the south side of Space City here, with DE still up on the north. There's Frank. Long journey from Tide Prison, but don't worry, he made it.
Gartha here kind of set themselves up in the bridge area. Gives them the option if they decide to drop someone back and go for the bagless extract. That's the only extract that could really be used at this point. DE, they're roaming around along with Gataga. They're all just looking to get as many kills as they can, and that squad points leaderboard is very close now. You can see 20 for MBO, 17 for DE, 18 for Agartha. I mean, 13 for Gataga is not too far behind. Bear in mind that will fluctuate. This
Como é que foi a movimentação? Eu imaginei que eles iam estar
meio, our teams currently have on them.
Parado. Eles vão extrair no sem mochila.
Maybe drop down a bit when our teams leave the map through not through an extraction point, but if they get more kills,
Like I said, that number the other way. You see Agartha moving towards the extract there.
Ooh, diving into the replay, see what went on with DE. And Genius on the other side was that ultimate hunt. And we knew NBO was absolutely staring, trying to get done with that. Oh, DE, the wipe towards NBO, denying NBO any more points this round.
NBO foi
it's going to be incredibly close when we jump into match number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, couldn't have been on a better team really for DE, could it, getting NBO out of there, just as NBO would look like they're starting to pick up a few kills in this round. So still that progress a little bit, keeping it close. Max are grabbing nice little watch there on the way out, as they are going to be leaving the round. Getting pretty good amount of value out there with the big rig they had and the 3x3 safe box, of course, which all our players have. So Shuba has gone, leaving just Nasty with the Tempest hanging out a bagless, but every other team will know that's been utilized now. So
tem duas opções. Ou ele vai pra cima pra tentar alguma
kill. Are they just going to wait it out? Are they going to try and get themselves involved?
Ou ele salva algum equipamento dele.
Even points, but there's no point hanging around, right? You might as well go and get some kills.
É muita munição, né, mano?
Managing what we've got in our safe box. I see prioritizing those dog tags. Got a little bit of ammo. No worries there as we keep on trying to find whatever works for us. Now, Agartha is still kind of holding down with Nast on the map, having sent
minuto de partida, minuto e meio.
Back to the north. DE and Gataga relatively close. There's a look at Nast as he on the Tempest. Might be able to third-party engagement. You're not quite sure how many people are left on the map, but your job with 1 minute and 30 left is just, hey, if you can find a kill, get yourself not only that KP, but the 800k that goes alongside it.
Like the nice little inset shot of the boss just hanging out in his office there. No one's gone to let him out. So, nice insight into what he gets up to before we players go and open the door, and he starts immediately headshotting us before we have a chance to kill him. This is DE hit. They're going to take the fight. Getting the ult out.
Okay. Less than a minute left. Let it all break out with Vladid here. Let's jump to the doorway. Feeds through some utility. Makes him back. But Folare ascends up the stairs and wants to bring the fight to them. Here's Nast, though.
O Nast tá voltando.
Manages to get one very low. Nice angle there. Nast getting the knock on Nox. In the end, that's well played, but needs to get that confirmation if Nast wants to get the point, and is going to go for that with the Tempest ult moving in. Oh, yeah, did get the confirm. So that's a point on the board. That's great work from the last remaining player. As 20 seconds left, jumping down the stairs, and it is Folare gets it. Another kill, Bloody taken down.
My man literally hit him from the top ropes to pounce on him. DE still up to a full team of 3. What more can Gataga and the solo from AGT do? In Folare does go ahead and get the kill onto Agartha. The last 1 minute 30 seconds of our first Space City of the day did not disappoint. But at the end, it was Dark Entities. 0 contest on the brick. Beautifully done.
Yeah, that was all about DE that round. I mean, they got
Eu acho que agora foi o
GA then they took full advantage after that, going
ganhou o top kill.
If they just walked away from the game with the brick and left the game how it was, they would have been 7 or 8 points behind number 1. But now they're going to be almost up behind them, or maybe even level.
And that makes me so excited to see what that leaderboard looks like before we jump into our next 2 rounds of Space City. And with someone else kind of giving us one more game.
Eu acho que ele foi o top kill,
tá? The fact that, like, if you double brick, right, you get those back-to-back, it ends. But if other teams are standing up and challenging on the mantle brick, we just go the
bem tranquilão, bem de boa.
It can get so exciting. But our best team, of course, none other
best team
entities, a mandel brick, 8 KP. Dude, did they get the top of the leaderboard after this? Because that's massive.
8 kills.
Huge amount of kills there. 2.284 right at the end as well. So great work. I think Folare got a whole bunch of those. We'll see in just a minute.
8 kills, cara.
6.
Foi do Folare
kills, and then NBO getting 3. They needed them to try and keep that even, so that does balance out that
6 kills.
A little bit 2 for Gataga, 1 for
Jogou
Agartha,
muito.
and nothing for Genius or living for success.
Aparentemente assim, ele sozinho,
right down at the bottom
sozinho eliminou, né? Deu wipe no NBO.
It's not looking too good for the moment. Yeah, there we go.
O segundo é o Farik. E o terceiro foi o Matias NBO.
Yeah,
2 kills.
Running it all out. There's your 8 from DE.
Round
Towards our top
4.
damage dealers. You got
Top dano.
Vishka, Nast up in there.
Right. Imagina,
look,
foi o
if you're
top
going to be
kill.
running Tempest and you just go run around in
1.2K.
those last engagements, that's where you're going to find
Top
a lot
assistência
of
foi
the
o
damage.
Farik.
But you think about the top assist.
Do
Flarek
DA.
there, Vishka. Okay, Dark Entities, we see you.
1,200 damage in one game
Shoba.
by one player. There is
Foi o que
massive.
Que mais saiu
with the
com
top
ativos.
asset earners from Agartha. Tuba was the only one to leave the map. So
Top
probably not a
ativos.
huge surprise to anyone, but only just beat some of the other players who stayed on the map. And there we go.
Fullerite.
6 kill points and
6 kills.
1,200 damage in one game is
Muito dano.
Massive. Great work from
2 assistências.
Incredibly well done. Like, that is just a performance that needs
A
to
assistência
be
dele
done,
e quem
especially
pegou
here in week
a kill
number
foi
4. We
o
are just a few days away from the survival
o
stage,
parceiro
making sure that
dele
you're
do
locking
DA.
yourself into it. If you guys want to follow at home, make sure you follow us at Delta Force literally everywhere. And of course, we did have that update on the Play Delta Force website with the esports tab. Just go ahead and click under that. Click on the Delta Rise series for all the information on how to stay
Temos
up
mais
to
uma
date,
cidade
whether that's the
espacial.
EMEA side of things or America's, of course. But
Let's
guys, we are going to
go!
jump into a quick break before we dive back into more Space City.
Let's go. Let's go. É muito massa. Já no começo, já o time amarelo tinha muita chance de tomar na cara lá, né? Lá em cima da ponte, eles estavam lá num pixel legalzinho até. Tiveram bastante sorte também. Space City. Daqui a 30 segundos vai começar uma nova Space City. Bora. Que JB. Os caras não jogam contra arma, né, mano? Meu Deus. O Nox ficou brabo, hein? O Nox ficou brabo. Nervoso. Mandelberg. Victoria. Eu achei massa essas 3, vamos colocar aqui, esses 3 últimos mapas ser fixado na cidade espacial. Que dá pra fazer bastante jogada interessante lá. E daí, claro, se nessas 3 jogadas ninguém conseguir ter os 2 strike com os 2 Mandel Break, aí vai ser em mapas aleatórios, né? Um sorteio, né? De mapa. Delta Rise. Delta Rise. Boa demais.
Two teams now in win condition here for the Delta Force Rise series on EMEA as we just wrapped our first game in Space City. It was Dark Entities all day in that match number 4 with a nice 8 kill and a Mandel brick to boot. Gataga there, Nox finding some value but hasn't really found themselves a brick just yet. But as we peruse through the vibe check here with our players, Ben, we got some stakes to be like, we've got to talk about what's at hand as we move into our next 2 Space Cities.
Yeah, finals weekend coming up next weekend. These teams playing today. They're Group A and Group C. They've got one more game each over the course of the weekend. They're going to be playing again. And then the teams they're playing, that's going to be their final matches. So plenty of opportunity for these players today to get more points. And there you go. You can see the leaderboard.
So,
Number one ainda
number one,
tá
they're still sitting at the top there
com
with
13
20
kills.
score points in D. Now, because they have a Mandel brick, they're going to tie that. But they
Só
are
que o
only 2
DA
behind, thanks to that
tá
huge
chegando perto
game they
com
just
12
had.
kills e
I was
ainda
so
com
curious
o
if they were
Mandel
going to
Break
be able to
também.
get to the top of the leaderboard to
Pontos
see
do
them just
squad
2
tá
points
bem próximo.
behind number 1. It is incredibly close. Teams like Agartha with 18 squad points, if they net themselves a brick here in our game number 5, it's going to be down to the wire. As you see, number 1 got their brick on Brackish in round 2. Round 4 goes the way of Dark Entities. But in terms of what's at stake for the teams that didn't bring out a Tempest in that initial Space City, will we see them go ahead and throw it down in round 5? Dark Entities, LFS, teams that have not used a Tempest as of yet.
Yeah, still 2 Tempests available for DE, and I think LFS there had a couple to use as well, and I think we'll definitely see those ones committed. The other teams have a choice now between this game or next game, if we even get to another game after this one. When you get to, or if you get to round 7, of course, operator choice is reset, so you don't have to worry about the last round. If it went that far, you can use whoever you like, and that's going to be our spawns. As we see the priority spawns, LFS, Genius, Gataga, and Dark Entities, they're going to be the potential tier 1 spawns for this one.
Ooh, very interesting. Okay. Look, we saw Dark Entities go ahead and hop the Mandel brick, get an easy decoder over at Buoyancy. I say easy, but that's just because it looks easy after how much work they put in to defend it over there. And if you're privy to even getting a tier 1 spawn in this, this is just the script writers doing some work over here on the EMEA side of things for Dark Entities. For LFS, who is still at the bottom of the group standings leaderboard, this is your time to turn it around. You could still go back to back in rounds 5 and 6 and hit double bricks, win the day, grab double-digit points, and just get into that survival stage. But it has to begin here. It has to begin now. Do not leave it to your last match day to make a run for survival stage.
Yeah, for sure. You don't want to leave that open on the table for someone else to grab, because we've got 2 teams now on match point going into game 5 on Space City. Those
Space City,
they're not too bad on this map, so I don't think MBO will be too unhappy if they manage to grab one of those. We can see some of the operator selections and gear selections down the bottom. MBO, they are fully committing. Full gold everything. Tempest on the table. A lot of purple for everyone else there, though.
I'd like to see that. I mean, look, a lot of people heavily invested in our prior Space City round. So seeing them kind of retract it back here, gearing up for a potential round 6. But for now, match point unlocked for Dark Entities and number 1. Let's see who comes out on top. LFS. You see they get that Westgate spawn with Dark Entities already full sending towards the edge of Dormitory. Imperator, less than half health.
I'll just wait for that mag to be dumped before I start talking.
Oh my god.
Yeah, okay, I think they got in there in the end. Yeah, Imperator did get it. I mean, we've seen a few times over the weeks where teams have been dropped going in. I think when they have the Stinger and they can put the Stinger smoke diagonally across like that, it does help them a lot. That normally seems to be the most secure way of getting in, but they get put very low there, and then again we often see an LMG being emptied like that. But they're in the middle now, and there is our brick.
Would you just look at it? Would you just look at it? Because I see Jen smoke it, I see Jen picking up the Mandel brick, and now we decide where do they want to go. Historically, in our last round on Space City, we saw them kind of go up towards that central command bridge, wait to see if DE was going to rotate up towards the outskirts of the central command building and maybe decode there. We personally know that AGT could be up there should they go that route. However, we're getting potentially a little bit of the same. But how, Jen, still 4 minutes, 30 seconds to decide.
Essa área aqui é louca pra fightar. Essa área aqui é
Black
muita
Chamber
loucura.
here, actually. They sent Kilo out in front. Kilo and Hannah came and had a look and checked out that it was clear. And then Chins has moved in, and we've gone for the Black Chamber decode. So we've switched to the other side, moved to the east of the core here. This one is another really interesting one. See, we do see it used a lot. Tends to get traded out quite a lot. We have that bulletproof glass going on one side. And that is, yeah, Team Genius with a brick on the decode station now. A little bit of a quiet day from Genius. I mean, they got good points on the board, but no man brick yet. They've had 2 wins so far in the tournament. As we see them get involved early here
with Team Gataga moving in on them.
LFS só de longe, só olhando.
Aggressive if they want to grab a brick on the board. You can see already one player down.
Masha já matou
picking up Kilo.
Derrubou. Não finalizou, só derrubou.
Not sure if they want to completely jump on this yet. Maxa does have ult avail if we do want to run.
Aí eles estão com...
For now, Kilo back up on their feet. If you knock the Tempest, that's usually a great way to siege it, right? However, Genius does stabilize.
Yeah, they did revive there in the end, and Gataga are a little bit limited on.
Estão roubando, roubaram o Mandel Break deles.
Again, they're holding the upstairs, so they're not really in a position to actually stop them coming in.
Pegaram o Mandel Break do time vermelho. Então o time vermelho não estava cuidando também do Mandel Break.
Quite bold from Gataga to run in there, considering I can see on my map that Nox is actually a little separated, still up on the bridge.
Tá chegando o AGT, o Shoba.
O
Yaku também já tá ali.
Logo
atrás do Shoba. Full right, tá só namorando.
Now it's all about game planning. 3 minutes on the decode. In these earlier trades, you get substantially more time as you break down the map.
LFS tá tranquilão lá no canto isolado. NBO também tá chegando, já tá de olho no H aqui. Só o LFS que tá de boa, o time verde tranquilão.
Looks like Jen taking up position just in the side entrance
2 minutos e meio.
The Black Chamber. Gataga still with the decode here. They've got 2.5 minutes on the clock, taking a bit of a closer position on it. They do still have one operator separated out. Nox up on the bridge. This is a Gartha. They're just near the drop down. You can go in through this way, of course, to the Black Chamber as well. And DE, one of our Mandelbrick holders, they are on the main bridge to the north here.
Munição roxa.
For them. Now, about halfway through the decode here for Gataga, you still don't even have Nox alongside you. So some interesting plans here.
1 minuto e 50.
Haven't kind of dived
Vai
back
com
down. And knowing how we saw Dark Entity's Mandelbrick play out, and you have 2 teams in win condition.
LF está chegando, tá chegando aos poucos aqui.
Interesting to let this one even tick. The 1 minute 30 has to be like the warning signal of people wanting to get in there.
Descendo.
And NBO.
Tá descendo. Vai encontrar o time vermelho.
Sort of
LFS matou
really
do GOT.
This one you can see switch. I mean, you very often see teams get wiped in this one, and you know the Mandelbrick wall, of course, pause of the team trying to decode gets wiped. So we've actually seen Nox has been knocked off to the side. He's going to grab that. Go to MBO. That's going to be match point MBO with the Tempest as they bounce back. It's actually only a Gartha in this round that doesn't have a Tempest right now. But Gataga, they just grab it straight back because there's no one there.
No, não é o Masha não.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, and the fact that you're going to have to extend out of the Black Chamber area to go get Nox if you'd like to, which would be very interesting. But speaking of...
GOT recuperou o Mandel Break.
Silent Assault in play here, and we jump straight onto Gataga, the duo. The initial Vladid go down with the Fool there. Just need to find one more member left. Gataga, Maxa, last alive, and things not looking so hot for Gataga right now.
Shoba vai roubar o Mandel Break. Roubou o Mandel Break. Tá com AGT. Masha tá só namorando ali na salinha do lado. Acho que ele vai dar a volta pra tentar ressaltar o parceiro dele, que é o Vladid.
Must got sniped by Stick because they're a little way away, and then that put Gataga down to 2.
Replay, vamos ver o replay.
That might be what we see. It is. It's going to be Stick. Look at that, the one tap. And that really put him on the back foot. See Yaku with the disc into there, getting rid of Vladid.
Oh,
Vladid looking not very happy at all.
1 minuto e 20 para decodificar o Mandel Break.
Gataga still down to a solo.
Tá com AGT, time azul.
Over there, maybe looking to hit a reset and pick Vladid back up.
Masha tá quieto na sala.
We'll just have to wait. 1 minute, 11 seconds left on the decode for AGT.
Não tem o que ele fazer com o parceiro do outro lado.
Get the reset. He's in the other room. Just kidding. You can just lay next to your friend.
Yeah, gonna be
aquela jogada ali é boa.
Might be able to find an opportunity, but for the time being, just hiding behind the suitcase. This is the
ele ulta ali
so they're coming across and down.
E vai lá e pega o
Mandel Break. Might come down behind MBO a little
NBO
bit
tá
here.
chegando.
I mean, 40 seconds on the decode for Agartha. Oh, they're in the office here, actually. I mean, MBO needs to try and grab this. I mean, Agartha's one of the worst, well, apart from D, I suppose. Agartha's not a great situation for MBO, because Agartha are above or very close to MBO in squad points, so, you know, if they see
Estão roubando. Time vermelho recuperou.
Gen, they have
recuperou o Mandel Break. Gen, time vermelho.
Of the Tempest to kind of get in there and
Mais minuto e 20.
Thanks to the ropes now. For LFS, as Gen
LFS tá chegando de boa.
Still playing from the outside area. And sure, you grab the
DA também, o GOT vai.
In terms of getting yourself
vai
the
pro outro lado,
that
vai pro
is
outro
the
lado.
value. And Gataga swipes it back. AGT says, nah. I'll take it. Thank you.
Meu Deus, a AGT vai recuperou o Mandel Break. Mais minuto e 30.
It only takes one. Max are the only one left from Gataga, but thinks, hey, why not? No one's actually sitting in this corridor, as you kind of often see. You get a team in the office above, a team holding in the main black chamber, a team holding, you know, as Gen R in the little side entrance.
LFS tá marcado. Tá marcado aqui no time vermelho, Gen.
You can kind of run in and
Kilo vai morrer.
Did, but send straight back to Agartha, and we got a minute, but
os dois, né? O Hanag também, o Hanag tá junto com ele.
Plenty of time for this to go back and forth.
Ooh, LFS.
NBO
with the
tentou, não conseguiu. Tá com o AGT.
Yeah, that was close. They did manage to grab that knock. Well played by Agartha. This is going to be Maxa jumping on it again. Does get finished off.
Foi totalmente eliminado.
Oh, that was the Tempest.
30 segundos de Mandel Break.
Surely Gen, the other team's going to come in and have a go now. We've got 30 seconds left.
Oh,
time vermelho.
Breaking out. AGT,
dois eliminados, time vermelho. Dois eliminados.
Under fire.
Tá chegando o time verde. Tá chegando o time verde nas costas do time azul.
Genius on the other side, left to a solo. Here we go. They move on in, throw the Tempest, the drill charge stuns
LFS tá pegando o Mandel Break. O time azul não pode sair porque tá passando cura. LFS pegou o Mandel Break. Mais minuto e meio.
Really far down on the leaderboard right
time
now.
azul vai de novo para pegar o Mandel Break.
Grab a brick and get themselves up there. We saw MBO also picking up a kill there. I think that was, Gen taken down 2-2. Gataga have got one left. It's a Tempest. Gen have got one left. It's a Tempest. Everyone else still in the game.
Por enquanto, só o time vermelho foi eliminado por completo. GOT tem só a Tempest ainda.
Are teams that are on win condition. Match point unlocked.
Na sala do lado,
still teams of 3.
Nash tá indo pra cima de novo.
AGT and LFS. LFS with the current decode sitting at 50 seconds as Dark Entities descends upon the
vai pegar o Mandel Break, 40
gets
segundos.
Closer to where the Mandel Brick is.
Pegou o Mandel Break, tá com o AGT, o Shoba.
By Agartha again. They've had this decode going so many times in this round.
Que loucura, mais minuto e meio.
See this trade some more. You've got so many players left in the lobby. There's so much opportunity for it to go back and forth. DE there. They're now in that side entrance. MBO still holding the office room just above. This is Matthias. They got one kill on the board at the moment. 1 minute on the decode for Agartha. I can see Fleric going
LFS, NBO, DA, AGT, todo o time completo.
They're still just holding this grenade. Or maybe they're dropping down, but Matthias just watching the door from DE there.
Tá com 50 segundos para decodificar o Mandel Break.
Like, I will throw this frag. Don't think I won't. Good look at the Mandel Brick.
AGT tá do lado do Mandel Break.
NBO
vai ser difícil.
LFS, you see the Tempest all coming through as they immediately send. Throws some util towards the doorway, and you got even there, Perone, and usurping the decode back to the hands of LFS. Big fight here from NBO.
Nicely done.
LFS recuperou o Mandel Break.
Grabbing it back off Agartha. Enter has been knocked as well for
Estão restando,
NBO,
o NBO tá restando a Tempest.
Yeah, that is their Tempest, so that's going to be recovered. You got to stay on top of your brain when you're trying to keep tabs on when there's been knocked and they've got the bungee ropes and the bonus line that Tempest gets. So all our teams, as we were talking about a minute ago,
a GT tá do lado do Mandel Break, eu acho que vai pegar de novo.
Gen have been wiped. So 50 seconds.
LFS com o Mandel Break.
Who's going to be next?
LFS pegou o Mandel Break.
And you see him running this time. Dark Entities. Uzbishka The aggressive man.
Vai
Looking
pegar
for
os...
some angles here. Drops on down behind AGT and Chuba. Goes,
O
this is my
USB
time
foi
to shine.
eliminado.
I'm gonna go ahead and siege it
A
right
AGT
back.
pegou,
1
mandou o break
minute
de novo,
30 on the
mais minuto e meio
clock.
pra
Just
eles.
under 6 minutes to go here on Space City. And this is not gonna be the last time we
Gosto,
change
o Masha
hands.
também. O Masha
Love
tá
to know what the
tá
record
parado
is
na
for
sala,
man
tá
on
só
brick trades,
ouvindo.
because this has been absolutely crazy.
O
It's gone
Masha
backwards
deve
and
estar
forwards. I'm sure
muito...
Agartha must have had this at least
Como é que eu
5
posso dizer?
times
Muito
so far.
tenso ali dentro, mano,
Love
porque
to
ele
see
só
the
tá
stats
ouvindo.
on that at some point.
Só
But,
tá
I mean,
ouvindo.
unless these players can, you know, get some kills
Tá
here
vendo
and get some
nada.
players out of this, then we could end up with no one getting this brick. It's been going backwards and forwards for so long, and it's a short deco
56
timer, but
segundos
there's
de
so many
Mandel Break.
tempests around, there's so many players that can keep grabbing it.
This is gonna get really scary. The fact that NBO and Dark
LFS.
Entities still in it.
Vai morrer.
And
Morreu.
LFS, you can see him there in the middle of the hallway, and
Morreu
he even gets caught
do
out. The
LFS
trades come
e
in as
do-
Nast. You
do
mentioned
AGT.
kills. The teams are definitely looking to make that
O USB
happen.
pegou outro.
Yeah, there might be
Do
what we
AGT.
needed to happen. LFS
Vai
grab
eliminar
it
o
and then
AGT
lose
por
one, so they're
completo.
gonna be down to 1 here. Just
Mandel
a
Break
little
tá
left
com
at the
LFS.
moment. We also saw
Só tem
from
uma
Agartha
aluna
drop
viva.
during that as well. This might be the opportunity our other teams take. Ubishka drop there from AGT, but Ferric takes one back, and AGT down to 1.
AGT
with
tá com
two
Mandel
up at
Break
the
de
moment.
novo.
One of those, I think, is Ubishka is Tempest. I'm not sure they actually had their ropes down at the moment, though. And Maxa somehow still alive.
Oh my gosh, and it's NBO.
AGT foi
Their
eliminado.
team of 3. Dark Entities
AGT
back up to
foi
a team of 3.
eliminado.
You can see their squad points trading hands with their total score, and it's Maxa being the thorn in the side for anyone looking to grab the decode, but NBO does achieve it.
I mean, look at this now.
Vai,
We've
vai,
got
pega o
NBO
teu
have lost
Mandel
one, but
Break,
that's their Tempest. They're reviving upstairs.
Back up.
The 2-3-person teams
Gods
here,
tá
both
com
teams
Mandel Break.
already with a brick. It's only Guitarga and LFS. They just have one left each. So we could easily see this end
Easy
on
peasy.
game 5 today. Match point. And look at where their
NBO
scores are at the
e
moment.
DA
They are
estão
equal,
com dois.
24 points each for NBO and
Dois
DE.
times estão com o time
The
completo ainda.
stories are writing themselves
1
here
minuto e
in
10.
week number 4, but Maxa
A Tempest
is
ultou.
doing
Vai
everything
pro
that
Mandel
he
Break.
can for Team Gataga
Vai pra pegar o
to
Mandel Break.
drag this one out. Another game with 3:30 on the clock. Just kidding. Gataga finally found out, eliminated
O
Set
SB
out of here,
matou o
but
Masha.
it's the Tempest, bro. So
Não
you can
tem
totally
mais.
come back. What is happening? No, he's gone. Done.
Yeah, so
LFS
that
joined
was-
them.
Mandel Break.
We are
DA.
potentially ending here. Sure, decoding is interrupted, but it's just Dark Entities. It's
DA tá
just
bem perto do
NBO.
Mandel
The
Break.
team's in win
É
condition.
DA ou NBO? Vai acabar nessa partida.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be
Vai
maybe
acabar nessa
which
partida
solo was
aqui,
gonna be the
rapaziada.
thorn in the side to who
É
was gonna
DA
decide this,
ou
but
NBO?
It's a 1v1 between these two teams. DE versus number 1. 3 minutes on the clock. DE have
Os
the
dois
decode
já
at the
tem
moment.
Mandel
No one
Break.
taking out Guitarga. They did actually have their... Oh no, I think that was a little... Yep, no, Guitarga just coming back from the dead briefly there. Is DE versus MBO. 27 on the board for DE at the moment. They've got a whole bunch of kills there. MBO just picked up
Vai
2.
acabar nessa
1 minute on the
partida,
clock, and the match
GG.
time is getting pretty low here. This can only
Tá
trade a
com
bit,
DA.
so... one of these teams...
Tá com DA
They
e
need
Mandel
to wipe
Break.
the other, and they probably aware of who they're fighting now by the kills, I'd imagine.
You know, you're right
Tão
to
guardando
outline the
50
time.
segundos.
One more time, can this change, or no one is getting it? Oh dear. In Dark Entities, look, we've seen it. We saw it happen in Brackish, where they just camped the
38
Mandel Brick and
segundos.
body checked it, but it's still too early to do that, because freezing it out now would be dangerous. Position exposed, disengages, and look at
NBO
NBO
pegou.
as they move
NBO
forward. They
pegou,
swipe the
recuperou
decode.
Mandel Break.
30 seconds, mind you. 1 minute 30 is the decode time that is needed. What is Dark Entities going to do?
Yeah, they grabbed that, but that's a huge knock on Fleric, and that is not on a Tempest. DE
NBO
down to 1 at the moment, which is
vai
only their
ganhar.
Tempest. It's
NBO
1 minute 10 on the
win.
clock, though. RD going to interrupt this? Where is the
Falta
last member
apenas
of
a Tempest
DE? No, they're
do
not on the brick. So
DA,
Uzbishka, last remaining for DE now, not on the brick, and NBO have got all 3 up, and they've got 50
minuto para
seconds.
decodificar.
55 seconds. They just have to defend this brick from Uzbishka, and they will win today, and that would be massive for them.
They're in 11th place, the bottom 2 on our group standings. A 10-point day in week 4 is phenomenal out of them. But 40 seconds on the clock to make it happen, and
Não
Uzbishka
foi.
goes for the
NBO.
push. Uzbishka gets found out, and no
Win.
one get it.
That's it, I think, boys.
Number 1.
That's my
I'm gonna run.
view.
I'm gonna run
That's
back,
my
honestly.
fucking game. Go,
I'm
go,
gonna run
go.
back.
Ele tem que extrair.
Absolutely huge from those guys. They're going to go for backpack, but they don't need it because they're going to get 2 bricks in just 10 seconds time, and that's going to be, like Tiff said, a 10-point win on the day for MBO. You get a bonus point for every Mandel brick you get. MBO are going to get 2 of those. It doesn't matter what their squad points are here because they're going to be the only team with 2 Mandel bricks today. And like you said, they came in today on 11 points. They're now going to walk away with
eles estavam merecendo, mano. Eles estavam jogando bem desde a primeira...
Brilliant performance out of them. Their first match day
Matias
win here in the Delta Force Rise series. And ooh, for that to come in week 4, that's what I like to see. That's what I like to see.
GG!
A wave from Cook there, cooking with the beard as well, I must say, from another bearded man, but great result for MBO. They had a 7-point second on their first match in the Rise, and then they went on to score only 1 point each in the next 3 games. They had a bit of a lull, so amazing to see them come back so strong there. That's going to throw them way up out of that bottom 2. They only needed 2 points to get out of safety.
Jogaram muito, mano. Jogaram muito,
safety today, so they have gone well above and beyond that. And remember, they still have a match to play as well. They've still got another game to play this weekend.
I think this is the perfect time to start heating up, right? First match day win, then you say it, they get to play again. So having this momentum here in week number 4, just ahead of the survival stage and finals for next weekend, the best time to come alive in the Delta Force Rise series is now for Dark Entities, who are also in win condition as we kind of get some vibes from them. Still a solid performance from them, but it's the best team of the day, and of course it's going to be number 1. 5 KP in that game, plus a decode.
Great to see them picking up the kills as well. The squad points, not only are they going to have the 2 Mandel bricks, they're going to be sitting top 4 squad points, I'm sure, as well. Just to show off with that. DE doing everything they could as well.
Excellent.
6 kills for DE, but it wasn't enough. But they will secure a 2nd spot, so that is still good points. It's going to be an extra bonus point for the Mandel brick as well. They're the only other team to get a Mandel brick today, so decent result for DE. And with the other games played, you know, DE came today on 4th position, 4 points off the top 2, so still a solid day at the office for DE.
Ooh, as we look around here, perusing through our top damage dealers of that game, Yaku, Chuba, and Flare. Nice job on that. Boasting their numbers on up in terms of the overall leaderboard. We break that down as well. Our top 5 assisters. Dark Entities Fulleray tied alongside Matthias and Chuba with 2.
Yeah, great work from the guys. We see our asset earners from that round. No one really getting out with too much there, as N2 we actually saw exiting the map earlier on Space. It is top 4 assets again, and then Matthias from the winning team, MBO, down there. And there is Cook taking MVP for round 5 for the winning round today. 2 kill points, 1 assist, 457 damage, and a little bit of assets. And just a great bit of work on a absolutely chaotic Mandel break. I'd love to see how many times that changed hands.
Oh my god, at least 9, at least 10, I don't know. I stopped counting when we saw 5 or 6, and then you just have Maxa with Gataga just running out of the room. Solo shenanigans, just keeping that time moving. Honestly, if you remove Gataga there from the equation, I wonder how many times that actually changes, or if we would have seen it decoded earlier on there, Ben.
Yeah, it was flying around like crazy, but I think we'll talk about them more. We're going to have a little chat with Matthias from number 1. He's going to join us for a bit of a debrief. Matthias, great to speak to you again. How are you feeling, dude? What a great result for you today.
Yeah, I feel amazing, and I think we showed what we can do. And yeah, it's feel great. I can't even put it into words right now.
Well, congratulations. First match day win there for you guys over at NBO, and coming in week number 4. Talk me through some of the changes that you guys on the team made coming into week 4 to have a performance like this.
Well, we had like kind of a slow start here in Rise series, and we just like wanted to focus on playing smart, not rushing into things, and like keeping on calm.
Eles não estão acreditando que eles venceram.
That's what we showed here today.
Yeah, you guys have had, you know, great chemistry throughout. We've seen you fragging and getting kills throughout, and I'm so happy to see you, you know, get that top spot. You had a
cara da Spider Chief, parece que não gostou muito que ele falou.
So, you know, brilliant result there. Is there something you think that gives you guys such good chemistry that helped you succeed today?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think chemistry is the most important thing in a team, and if you don't have that, I don't think you can succeed.
I agree with that. Now, thinking back to that last round on Space City, you mentioned that you guys were focusing on taking those smart fights. With the decode changing hands so many times, what were you guys prioritizing in that? Obviously, you want to get the decode, but you guys kind of showed up there, I would say, a little bit closer towards the end of the decode, and some of the teams were whittled down by them. But what were the comms like in that moment?
Well, yeah, that was like one of the craziest games I think I've seen here in Race Series, like in terms of the resets on the brick. So we just we saw them coming in, and we just kept our cool. We had also had some teams coming from top, from CEO office, so we let them go down. And then we saw, like, when we had our Tempest ult, we see some teams that had the brick, and we saw what teams were still in the play. So we just kind of decided on that, like how we are going to approach this.
Well, Matthias, thank you so much for joining us, dude. You go celebrate with your team. Have a nice rest day tomorrow, and you're going to join us back on Sunday for your final game. We'll see you then, dude.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Ben, as we look through some of these highlights, I just loved kind of hearing how they focus on smart fights. It paid off. It really worked well for them. And knowing that they're going to join us back on Sunday with things going right, we just need a little bit more of the same, as we just spoke to Matthias, and he's also our match day MVP.
Yeah, look at that. What bit of work from Matthias there. It's great to see them performing well, getting themselves the MVP title as well. So well deserved today. They're great players, and great to see them getting those points today. I'm very interested to see where that puts them on the table today. That's going to completely change how the bottom of it looks. LFS, they're still going to be sitting down there pretty low, unfortunately for them. As we mentioned, DE going to be pretty happy with a few points there. And then everyone else, I'm not really quite sure. Maybe, I guess, a few points for Agartha. They had some pretty good squad points, right? But obviously no Mandel bricks, so not going to be a great change of position for them. But yeah, certainly MBO and DE, they're going to be shuffling around that leaderboard just a little bit.
Yeah, look, exactly when you need to do it. Work on like cementing yourself into that survival stage, because it's going to be so fun to witness what happens next week. But of course, we just have to finish out our group stage here. And for our match day 10 top players of the day, you can see a lot of Dark Entities presence here, but NBO also showing up, especially with Enter. Top asset earner, we know he did get to extract in one of the earlier rounds, but a 7 KD, look, would take it all day.
Yeah, it certainly helped by Enter probably be one of the only players to extract over the last few games we saw as well. This is our leaderboard from today's game. You can see MBO finishing on 28 score points. Doesn't matter what the score points are, because they got 2 Mandel bricks. They would be top there anyway. Same for DE, guaranteed second place despite the score points, but it is actually kind of nicely in order here. Pretty close there. Agartha getting 21. They do get the 3rd place, and Gatago in 4th, Genius in 5th. And last for LFS, unfortunately, no Mandelbrick bonus points, of course, for those teams in the white backgrounds there.
And that definitely hurts for LFS, who came into today's match day in 12th place, needing pretty much a double brick performance to like try to get into that survival stage. But y'all, thanks so much for joining us here on the day. We do have one more final giveaway, okay? This is your chance to win 3,000 Delta ticket, okay? So if you guys are watching on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, simply type !giveaway. If you're watching on X, go ahead and just repost the live stream. We'll announce the winners in chat on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. But if you're watching on X, we'll announce the winner in the comments under the live stream. So good luck. We wish you the best. Sometimes getting these giveaways are just a matter of consistency and showing up and knowing when we are going to trigger them. And of course, if you like what you see, make sure you go follow us on Delta Force Esports absolutely everywhere. Go check us out on playdeltaforce.com. You can click the esports tab. It'll have everything about all the teams that are playing, not only for EMEA and the Americas, of course, but you can see the scheduling as we wind down our group stage. Ben, what are some of your takeaways for the day? It was a wild day to kick things off for this weekend.
Yeah, it's something I've been waiting for, to see one of those teams who are right down the bottom end of the table have a huge day and bring them up, because I feel like they've all had potential for that, particularly NBO, particularly number 1. So yeah, that's been really nice to see. Great story of redemption for them. You can see their first win of one of the days so far in the tournament. Just 2 matches left as well. Groups A and D playing tomorrow, and then Groups B and C playing on the final day on match 12. So just 2 days left for the groups, and the next week's going to be finals.
I'm curious if WLG will be able to complete the hat trick. They had 2 wins on their most recent show out. So when we see them tomorrow, will they be able to jump up? We talked about Nox from Gataga getting back up to the top of our player ranking in terms of kills, and does it just by 1. So love to see that from Nox, Fnatic, and NBA Skydee there as well, rounding out the top 3. But it's Dark Entities, Uzbishka, Full Array, down there just breaching into the 30s on the come up, seeing if they can make a late run for the top 3.
Yeah, good work by Nox, just creeping up there. Not a huge amount of kills by his standards and Gataga standards for them today, but does take that top spot back with 41. All our teams on even matches played as well, by the way, now. And no surprises to anyone who's been watching along these EMEA broadcasts that Uzbishka, now everyone's level on matches played, is nearly 2,000 points clear at the top of the damage leaderboard. Was top damage leader again today. That man just knows how to find damage for his team. Maxa from Gataga sitting in second place, now just ahead of James from Fnatic there. But you can see Stick, Siloa also over 10k damage now. Stickinson, you can see they've got great fraggers. They've got Stickinson, 10k damage. They've got Even there in 12th place, 8.5k damage. So they know how to shoot, but they just need to get a Mandelbrick over the line. And they've only got 1 opportunity left to do it, to get some good points. They're going to be playing a little bit later in the weekend.
Pretty close round as you look at our top asset gainers here with Skydee, Maxa, and DJ right there from Fnatic on the top 3. One thing that I'm going to go ahead and shout out is these players are consistently making their presence in the top 3 on a ton of our player rankings.
Yeah, 100%. You see these names pop up a lot. These big names: SkyT, Maxa, James, Kilo, Nasty. These players have been delivering both in kills and in resources. Of course, you get resources for killing as well, which does help a lot. And there you see our changed leaderboard. And look at MBO. They've jumped from 11th to 7th place there.
É muito importante ter esses campeonatos aí, cara. Dá
yeah, it's incredibly close on that mid-pack. Now when you see kind of those bottom 2 players knowing, or teams that you have one more time to show up, show out on this final weekend, it's incredibly close. Teams on the line. Fnatic, 1 point, keeping them outside of the bottom 2, facing potential relegation if things don't go their way this weekend. The Dark Entities, you're right, breach into the top 2 with 31 total match points. Will NBA answer back and try to break into the top 2 and get that auto qual to finals?
Yeah, definitely an opportunity for them to do that. And they are going to be playing tomorrow, Group D. We're going to see Mandelbrick Addiction come in. Remember, every team here has played the same amount of matches now, so this is pretty even. And just 4 points between those top 3. A little bit of gap there down to Alliance there. Floor POV from Group D. They now been pushed into the bottom 2 from that huge result today for MBO. And MBO got themselves 8 points clear of relegation now, and that puts them pretty safe. But you also, if you can avoid that 9th and 10th as well. 9th and 10th, they still go into the finals weekend next weekend, but you actually only get to play on one of the survival days, so you have less opportunity to qualify for the finals. So ideally, you want to be top 8.
Total match points.
Worst case, 9th or 10th. 11 or 12th, they're going straight home.
Total de kills, cara.
Well, for NBO, who were in the bottom 2, now jumping up into 7th, albeit just by 3 points inside that top 8. You're feeling pretty dang good about your day. You heard it. We were talking with Matthias. He's like, dude, that last game was one of the craziest games on Space City with how much it changed hands. So netting that double brick for them today on match day is crazy. Can't wait to see them run it back. Hopefully the momentum carries them forward, guys. But speaking of their next match day, you will see them later on this weekend on match 12. But for now, we got groups A and D going to be playing tomorrow. And I am so freaking excited to see what Group D is going to do. Mandelbrick Addiction, Fnatic, Floor POV. Floor BOV is one of the teams that dropped into the bottom 2. And with their last day in play tomorrow, you have got to show up and show out.
Yeah, that is going to be a huge day for them. I feel like I'd rather be in Group B and C, right? Then you know what you're playing for on that final day. For teams A and D, or groups A and D playing tomorrow, they're going to have to play their final game of the groups and then just sit there and watch on the final day and wait and see what other teams do, which must be so painful.
It's like you want everyone to do good, right? But you're also preying on downfall so you can make it into the survival stage and net yourself a ticket to the finals, hopefully, so you can compete for a substantial amount of cash here in the Delta Force Rise series on the EMEA side. Well, chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And once again, congratulations to #1 for netting themselves their first match day win. Ben, it's been an absolute pleasure casting for the first time alongside you. I want to hit you with one final thought from today's matches before we get out of here.
Yeah, likewise, Tiff. It's been fantastic. Really enjoyed the broadcast today. I hope everyone has at home. Go away, talk about today's result. Big result.
E aproveita já deixa o like.
Come back in tomorrow.
Deixa o like na live aí
para hang around a little bit later
fortalecer a gente
NA,
aqui, manos.
they're going to be playing their Friday game as well. So stay tuned to watch some NA broadcast later on.
So much action happening here for week 4 of our group series, but that is done and dusted for the EMEA side of things. We'll see you back tomorrow, same time, same place.
Fechou, tamo junto. El Brabos. Então é isso, galera. Hoje o campeonato era esse mesmo, tá? NBO Gai garantiu uma vitória. Amanhã tem mais um campeonato, certo? 1h da tarde nós estamos aí. Espero que vocês tenham gostado. Então cola com a gente aí na live. Tamo juntão demais. E mais tarde vamos abrir uma livezinha aí pra poder jogar um Deltinha aí com os amigos, fechou? Bora de Deltinha. Vai, Vámonos de la Deltita. Vamos de Deltinha, rapaziada. Não, Deltinha eu vou deixar para mais tarde, fechou? Então é isso, espero que vocês tenham gostado. Já aproveita e se inscreve no canal, galera. Se inscreve no canal aí para não perder a live de amanhã no campeonato também. Fechou, rapaz? Tamo junto, até a próxima. Valeu, falou, é nóis.